Welcome to Audiomentors. On this channel, we share valuable content about the world of economics and social thought, and today we bring you a very special resource, Introduction to Social Market Economics. This book delves into how we can better organize and understand our markets and economies through a perspective that balances economic freedom with social justice. Throughout the chapters, we will explore everything from the basic concepts of economics to the fundamental principles that guide the social market economy, an approach that can transform the way we understand economic policy and social and economic relations. If you are passionate about these issues and want to continue learning more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the little bell so you don't miss any of our new audiobooks. Welcome and enjoy the content. Welcome to the first episode of Audiomentors. Today we start with a topic that is crucial to understanding how our society and economy are organized: Introduction to the Social Market Economy. In this first episode, we will explore the fundamental principles that underpin the economic system and its relationship with human activity. Economics is not just a set of numbers or graphs. It is the science that deals with the management of limited resources to satisfy human needs, which are always in constant flux. The key here is to understand how the economy is not only about producing goods and services, but also about organizing, distributing, and ensuring that resources reach those who need them in an efficient and fair way. In this chapter, we will address the fundamental questions that economics tries to answer. 1. What is the economy and why is it essential in our lives? The economy arises from a basic necessity: the scarcity of resources. All individuals and societies must make decisions about how to allocate these resources effectively. Each decision, from personal consumption to the economic policies of a government, has an impact on society as a whole. 2. The fundamental questions of human activity. One of the pillars of economics is understanding how human beings make decisions, not only from a material point of view, but also from a social and moral one. How do we organize our economic activity? Should the market be the one to determine everything, or is there room for state intervention? These are key questions that will guide us in the study of the social market economy. 3. Economics as a human activity. Throughout history, humanity has sought different ways of organizing its economic life. From the agricultural to the industrial economy, globalization and digitalization, each stage has brought with it new challenges and new ways of approaching the production and exchange of goods and services. 4. Scarcity and limited resources. Scarcity is a fundamental concept. Resources such as time, money, land, or human capital are limited. This forces societies to make decisions about how to use these resources as efficiently as possible to guarantee the well-being of all. In the market, goods and services are allocated through prices that reflect supply and demand, but there are situations in which the market alone is not sufficient to achieve a fair distribution. 5. Economy and its basic principles. Throughout this chapter, we will introduce you to key concepts such as supply, demand, market, and price. All of these are fundamental elements that help us understand how the economy works in simple terms. But beyond the theory, we will see how these concepts are applied on a day-to-day basis, both in the decisions we make as individuals and in the public policies that affect an entire nation. 6. The market and its role in economic organization. The market is one of the most important mechanisms that organizes the economy. In a market economy, the decisions of what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce are made by individuals and companies through the free interaction of supply and demand. However, it is important to understand that the market is not perfect, and that is why we need a regulatory and political framework to guide these interactions in order to avoid abuses and inequalities. The aim of this first chapter is to provide you with a clear overview of what the social market economy is and how, through its approach, we can achieve a more humane, fair, and efficient economy. The social market economy seeks to balance economic freedom with social justice, understanding that the market can be an excellent mechanism for allocating resources, but that it requires public policies and a strong state to correct market failures and guarantee an equitable distribution of wealth. This is just the beginning of an educational journey where we will delve deeper into economic theory, the market, competition, and the crucial role of the state in the economy. Chapter 2: Fundamental Concepts of Economics. In this second chapter, we will delve into the basic concepts of economics that are essential to understanding how an economic system works, how goods and services are produced, and how they are distributed among individuals and society. These concepts are not only the basis of economic theory, but also key tools for understanding public policy, business decisions, and the consumer dynamics that affect our daily lives. 1. Types of economic activities. The economy is not a single, homogeneous entity. It is divided into various activities that address different human needs. These activities are grouped into 3 fundamental sectors. Primary sector. The primary sector involves the extraction and harvesting of natural resources. These resources include agricultural land, minerals, water, timber, fish, and energy. Countries that depend mainly on this sector tend to be more rural, and their economies are more exposed to variations in nature and the international prices of these products. In more industrialized economies, the primary sector may be much smaller, but it is still fundamental, especially in developing countries. Secondary sector. This sector comprises the transformation of natural resources from the primary sector into manufactured goods. Industry, construction, the manufacturing of consumer goods, and the production of machinery are typical examples of this sector. The industrialization of a nation is a crucial step towards its economic development, as it allows for greater added value to basic products and opens up new opportunities for employment and export. Tertiary sector. The tertiary sector is made up of services, and it is the sector that has experienced the greatest growth in modern economies. This sector includes a wide range of activities, such as education, health, transportation, finance, tourism, information technology, and many other services that do not produce tangible goods but are essential for the functioning of the economy. In advanced economies, the tertiary sector represents a considerable portion of GDP and employment. These 3 sectors do not operate independently. They are interrelated and mutually supportive. For example, manufacturing depends on natural resources, and the service sector depends on the production of goods. Efficient interaction between these sectors is key to economic growth and development. 2. Factors of production. The production of goods and services in any economy depends on certain basic resources, known as factors of production. These are the inputs necessary to create value in the production process. They are divided into 4 broad categories. Land. In economics, land does not refer only to the Earth's surface, but to all the natural resources found on it, such as water, minerals, forests, oil, and other resources that are exploited for the production of goods. Land is a limited resource, and its efficient distribution and use are crucial for economic well-being. Labor. Labor refers to the human effort dedicated to the production of goods and services. This factor includes both physical and intellectual labor, and its value varies depending on the skill, experience, education, and effort invested in a given job. High-quality, well-paid employment is related to an efficient and well-regulated labor market. Capital. Capital refers to the manufactured goods used in the production process, such as machinery, tools, factories, and technology. Capital includes not only the money invested in production, but also the infrastructure and technologies that enable labor and natural resources to be transformed into useful products. Investment in capital, especially in cutting-edge technologies, is essential for long-term economic growth. Enterprise. The enterprise is the organizing factor that coordinates the other 3 factors of production: land, labor, and capital. Entrepreneurs make decisions about what to produce, how to produce it, and for whom. They take risks, invest resources, and manage production processes, seeking maximum efficiency and profitability. In a dynamic economy, entrepreneurs are also key to innovation, as they introduce new ideas, products, and services to the market. The balance in the use of these factors of production largely determines the efficiency and sustainability of an economy. The optimal allocation of these resources is one of the main challenges facing both companies and governments. 3. Scarcity and the economic principle. One of the most fundamental concepts in economics is scarcity. Scarcity refers to the idea that available resources are limited in relation to human needs and desires, which are practically unlimited. This disparity is what drives economic activity. People, companies, and governments must make decisions about how to use resources more efficiently. The economic principle states that due to scarcity, societies must make decisions about what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. In this sense, economic decisions are characterized by the need to make choices between alternatives, since it is not possible to satisfy all the needs of all. Each choice has an opportunity cost, which is the value of the best alternative not chosen. For example, if a government decides to invest in infrastructure, it may have to reduce spending on education or health. This decision involves not only economic considerations, but also social and political ones, since the opportunity cost reflects what is lost when one option is prioritized over another. 4. The Production Possibilities Frontier, PPF. The Production Possibilities Frontier, PPF, is a graphical tool used in economics to illustrate the different combinations of goods and services that an economy can produce given the available resources. The PPF shows the options that an economy has for allocating limited resources in the production of different goods and services. This tool also makes it possible to visualize the opportunity cost of producing more than one good at the expense of another. In the PPF, any point within the frontier represents a production combination that is possible but inefficient, as not all available resources are being used. Points outside the frontier are unattainable with current resources. The frontier curve itself shows efficient production options, where all resources are being used optimally. This concept is crucial to understanding how economies must make strategic decisions about how to allocate their resources and how economic policies can alter these possibilities. In practice, decisions affecting the production of goods and services must consider resource limitations and the costs associated with those decisions. 5. Definition of economics. Finally, at its most basic level, economics can be defined as the social science that studies how societies use limited resources to produce goods and services and distribute them among individuals. Although this definition covers the most tangible aspects of economics, it also involves ethical and political aspects, since the way resources are distributed can have a significant impact on social justice and equity. Economics, therefore, is not only about how goods are produced and distributed, but also about how economic decisions affect the well-being of individuals, businesses, and nations. It is a field that seeks to understand how to make more efficient use of resources to improve people's quality of life. This chapter provides a solid foundation for addressing the more complex issues that we will explore in later chapters. By understanding the fundamental principles of economics, we are better prepared to understand how markets work, how economic decisions are made, and how public policies can influence overall well-being. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into economic theory and how it is applied in practice, exploring the different economic currents and models that have influenced global economic policies and organization. Chapter 3. Economic Theory Overview. In this third chapter, we're going to take a detailed tour of the fundamental pillars of economic theory. Economic theory is the basis on which public policy, business decisions, and consumer practices are built. This theory provides the concepts and frames of reference that explain how economic decisions are made and how the different actors within the economy interact. Through this analysis, the aim is to understand not only how markets work, but also how economic structures can be improved to promote social welfare and economic development. Economic theory is divided into various branches that specialize in different aspects of the economy. Below, we will explore the essential components of this theory, with a focus on its application and practical relevance. 1. Economic methodology and economic models. Economic methodology refers to the methods and approaches that economists use to analyze economic phenomena. This methodology is not limited to mathematical formulas or abstract models. It also encompasses a more general approach to how economists interpret data, formulate theories, and develop models that allow them to predict economic behavior. Economic models are simplified representations of reality that help economists understand and predict the behavior of individuals, companies, and markets. These models can take different forms, from mathematical representations to diagrams or computer simulations. Although the models do not reflect the totality of the complexity of the real economy, They're essential for identifying causal relationships and expected effects of policies or changes in economic conditions. For example, a widely used model in microeconomics is the supply and demand model, which explains how market prices are determined and how the quantity of goods demanded and supplied interact to balance the market. Similarly, in macroeconomics, models can address issues such as the impact of monetary policy on inflation and economic growth. 2. Parts of economic theory. Economic theory can be divided into different branches that specialize in different aspects of economic behavior. Some of the main parts of economic theory are detailed below. Consumer theory. This branch of economic theory studies how consumers make decisions about which goods and services to consume, given their preferences and budgetary constraints. Marginal utility is a key concept in this theory. According to the theory, consumers make decisions that maximize their utility, satisfaction, or well-being based on the goods and services they consume. As a person consumes more units of a good, the utility obtained from each additional unit decreases, which is known as the law of diminishing marginal utility. Production theory. Production theory studies how companies organize the factors of production, land, labor, capital, to produce goods and services. This field focuses on how companies make decisions about the amount of production and the efficient use of available resources. One of the most important concepts in this theory is the production function, which describes the relationship between the amount of inputs, such as labor and capital, and the amount of output that can be generated. Companies seek to maximize their returns and efficiency in the use of resources. Price theory. This part of economic theory analyzes how the prices of goods and services are determined in the markets. Price theory studies the relationship between supply and demand and how this relationship influences prices. Market equilibrium occurs when the quantity of goods demanded by consumers equals the quantity supplied by producers, which leads to a stable market price. However, prices are also influenced by external factors such as government intervention through taxes, subsidies, or price controls, monopoly, or imperfect competition. Market theory. Market theory analyzes how markets function in general and how resources are distributed through them. There are different types of markets. Competitive markets. These are markets in which there are many buyers and sellers, and none of them has enough power to influence market prices. Competition in these markets generally leads to an efficient allocation of resources. Monopolies. In a monopoly, a single company controls the supply of a good or service in the market. This can lead to higher prices and lower production, which is often neither efficient nor socially beneficial. Oligopolies. In oligopolies, a small number of companies dominate the market. Although there may be some competition, the companies often have enough power to influence prices. 3. National economy or macroeconomics. Macroeconomics studies the broader aspects of the economy, such as economic growth, unemployment, inflation, and the policies that affect the economy as a whole. Macroeconomists focus on understanding how large economic aggregates interact and which policies can improve general well-being. Gross domestic product, GDP. GDP is the total measure of the value of final goods and services produced within a country during a given period. It is one of the most important indicators for assessing the state of an economy. Steady GDP growth indicates an expanding economy, while a fall in GDP can be a sign of recession. Inflation and unemployment. Inflation refers to the widespread and sustained increase in the prices of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. Inflation can negatively affect the purchasing power of consumers and generate economic uncertainty. Unemployment, on the other hand, refers to the number of people who are willing to work but cannot find employment. Unemployment has negative effects on social welfare and economic stability. Fiscal policy and monetary policy. Fiscal policy refers to government decisions on public spending and taxation. Governments use fiscal policy to influence the level of aggregate demand and promote economic growth. Monetary policy is managed by the central bank and focuses on controlling the supply of money and interest rates to achieve objectives such as controlling inflation and economic stability. 4. Keynesian theory and monetarism. Throughout the history of economics, different theories have explained how economies should be managed. The two most influential in the 20th century are Keynesian theory and monetarism. Keynesian theory. The theory of John Maynard Keynes holds that aggregate demand is the main driving force of the economy. According to Keynes, during periods of economic recession, governments should intervene in the economy through public spending to stimulate demand and restore economic growth. Keynes advocated policies of active government intervention to smooth out economic cycles. Monetarism, promoted by Milton Friedman, emphasizes the importance of controlling the money supply as a means of maintaining economic stability. According to monetarists, inflation can only be controlled through a restrictive monetary policy that limits the amount of money in circulation, thus preventing uncontrolled price increases. 5. Welfare economics. Welfare economics is a branch of economic theory that focuses on the distribution of resources in society and the general well-being of individuals. It studies how economic policies can improve social well-being and reduce economic inequalities. This theory examines issues such as wealth redistribution, inequality, and public policies that seek to increase equity in society. 6. International economics. International economics is the study of economic relations between countries. It analyzes international trade, foreign investment, globalization, and the effects of a country's economic policy on the rest of the world. International trade allows countries to specialize in the products they produce most efficiently, and this exchange benefits both exporting and importing countries. This chapter has provided an overview of economic theory, a field that is constantly evolving and affects both individuals and nations. As we move forward in the following chapters, we will delve deeper into the practical application of these concepts and how they can be used to create a fairer, more efficient, and more equitable economy. Chapter 4. The Market and How It Works. In this fourth chapter, we will address one of the fundamental pillars of economics, the market. Understanding how the market works and what mechanisms operate within it is essential to understanding the allocation of resources, the formation of prices, and the role that competition plays in social welfare. An efficient market allows goods and services to be distributed optimally, but it also poses challenges and failures that require public intervention. 1. What is a market? A market is any place or system through which buyers and sellers interact to exchange goods and services. These exchanges can take place in a physical space, such as a local market, or in a digital environment, such as e-commerce platforms. In its most basic form, a market allows people to offer products and services, while others demand those products and services. Markets facilitate exchange and allow scarce resources to be distributed among the different actors in the economy. Markets can be of different types, and their structure depends on the competition between sellers and buyers, as well as the nature of the products exchanged. Some examples include goods and services markets, where consumers buy products such as food, clothing, technology, etc. Labor markets, where people offer their labor in exchange for wages. Financial markets, where investors buy and sell assets such as stocks, bonds, and currencies. The market is fundamental to market economies because, through the interaction of supply and demand, it establishes prices and distributes resources among the different actors. 2. The law of supply and demand. The law of supply and demand is the basic principle that explains how market prices are determined. This law describes the relationship between the quantity of a good or service that producers are willing to sell and the quantity that consumers are willing to buy. The interaction of these two forces establishes the market price and the quantity exchanged of a good or service. Supply. This is the quantity of goods or services that producers are willing to sell at different prices. Generally, the higher the price, the greater the quantity that producers are willing to offer, as they can obtain greater profits. Demand. This is the quantity of goods or services that consumers are willing to buy at different prices. As the price of a good decreases, consumers tend to buy more as the good becomes more accessible. Market equilibrium occurs when the quantity supplied equals the quantity demanded. This is the point at which the price and the quantity exchange stabilize, and there is no pressure to change the price. If the price is too high, there will be an excess of supply, unsold products, and if the price is too low, there will be a shortage, not enough products to satisfy demand. 3. The role of prices in the market. Prices play a crucial role in the market economy, as they are the mechanisms that coordinate the decisions of consumers and producers. Prices not only determine what goods are produced, but also how scarce resources are distributed in the economy. Prices act as signals for consumers and producers. Signal of scarcity or abundance. When a good is scarce, its price increases, which motivates producers to offer more of that good and consumers to demand less. On the other hand, if a good is abundant, its price decreases, which encourages consumers to buy more and producers to reduce supply. Profitability signal. A high price signals that a good is profitable to produce, which will attract more companies to produce that good. A low price may indicate that the good is not profitable, and producers may choose to produce something more profitable. Allocation of resources. Through prices, resources are allocated to the uses most valued in society. If a price rises, resources, such as labor and capital, are diverted towards the production of that good. If the price drops, resources are reallocated to other products. 4. Market types and competition structures. Markets can adopt different structures depending on the number of companies operating in the market and their power to influence prices. There are 4 main types of market. Perfect competition. This is a theoretical market structure in which there are many buyers and sellers, and none of them has the power to influence the price. The products are homogeneous, that is to say, there is no difference between the products offered by different sellers. In this type of market, prices are determined solely by supply and demand, and companies are price takers, which means that they must accept the market price as it is. Monopoly. In a monopoly, a single company dominates the entire market and has the power to set prices. Monopolies tend to arise when there is a significant barrier to the entry of other companies into the market, such as high initial costs or control over a unique resource. A monopoly can result in higher prices and lower production of goods or services, which is not economically efficient. Oligopoly. An oligopoly is characterized by a small number of companies dominating the market. In these markets, companies have considerable power to influence prices, but they must consider the decisions of their competitors when setting their prices. Oligopolies can give rise to imperfect competition behaviors, such as collusion, when companies agree on prices, or strategic behavior, when a company adjusts its prices to compete with the others. Monopolistic competition. This type of market has many companies, but each one offers differentiated products that are not exactly the same. Consumers have certain preferences for specific products, which gives companies some control over prices. However, competition still exists, as consumers can switch products if prices are too high. 5. State intervention in the market. Although markets function largely through the free interaction of supply and demand, governments often intervene to correct market failures and promote social welfare. State intervention can take a variety of forms, including price regulation. In some cases, governments set maximum, ceiling price, or minimum, floor price, prices to prevent the exploitation of consumers or the fall of prices below sustainable levels for producers. For example, the government may set a minimum price for agricultural products to ensure that farmers receive fair compensation. Subsidies and cross-subsidies. Governments can grant subsidies to certain industries to encourage the production of essential goods or to support key economic sectors, such as agriculture, renewable energy, or public transportation. Anti-monopoly policies. Governments also intervene to prevent companies from monopolizing important markets. Competition policies seek to ensure that markets remain open and competitive, thus promoting efficiency and reducing prices for consumers. Social welfare and redistribution of resources. The government can intervene to correct inequalities in the distribution of resources. This can include policies such as progressive taxation, where the richest pay more tax, or social security programs to ensure that all citizens have access to basic services such as education and health. 6. Market failures. Although markets are effective mechanisms for the allocation of resources, they are not always perfect. There are several situations where the market fails to produce efficient or fair results, known as market failures. Monopolies and market power. When a company controls a market, it can set high prices and reduce supply, which is not efficient and can harm the welfare of consumers. Externalities. Externalities are side effects that affect third parties who are not involved in the transaction. For example, the pollution generated by a factory affects nearby residents, but the factory does not take this cost into account in its production decisions. Public goods, such as national defense or clean air, are goods that cannot be excluded from those who consume them, which can lead to overuse and underconsumption without state intervention. This chapter has addressed the basic principles of how markets work, including how prices are determined by the interaction between supply and demand, the different market structures, and the reasons why the market can fail. As we move forward, we will explore how governments can correct these failures and improve the functioning of the economy to promote social welfare and economic justice. Chapter 5: Alternatives for Economic Organization. In this chapter, we will explore the various ways in which economies can be organized to manage limited resources and satisfy human needs. The economic organization of a society determines not only how goods and services are distributed, but also how economic decisions are made and who controls the resources. We will examine 3 of the most significant economic organization alternatives: the market economy, the planned economy, and the mixed economy, which seek to balance economic efficiency with social and political values. 1. Market economy. The market economy is a system in which decisions about the production, investment, and distribution of goods and services are determined by the interactions of individuals and companies in the market. In this system, resources are owned by individuals and companies, and the allocation of these resources is carried out through the mechanism of supply and demand. In a market economy, the prices of goods and services are freely determined by buyers and sellers, without direct government intervention. Companies compete with each other to offer the products that consumers want, and consumers choose the products that best meet their needs at the lowest prices. This system promotes competition, innovation, and efficiency, as companies seek to maximize their profits and improve the quality of their products to attract consumers. However, although the market economy is effective in the allocation of resources and in the promotion of innovation, it can also generate economic inequalities, exploitation, and market failures. In a pure market economy, there is no guarantee that goods and services will be accessible to everyone, and some sectors of the population may be excluded from the benefits of economic growth. 2. Planned economy. Unlike a market economy, a planned economy, also known as a centrally planned economy, is an economic system in which the government or state has control over the production and distribution of goods and services. In this system, key economic decisions such as what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce are made by central authorities such as a government or a state agency, rather than being determined by market forces. In a planned economy, the government owns most of the resources and controls the companies. This system aims to ensure that all citizens have access to basic goods and services, which can help reduce economic inequality and guarantee a minimum level of well-being for all members of society. In addition, planned economies can be more effective in carrying out large infrastructure projects or mobilizing resources for national objectives, such as war or economic development. However, planned economies also have significant disadvantages. The lack of competition and the centralization of decision-making can lead to inefficiencies and rigidity in production. Central authorities may not be well informed about local consumer preferences and needs, which can result in the production of unwanted goods or shortages of other essential goods. In addition, the lack of incentives for innovation can slow down technological progress and productivity improvement. 3. Mixed economy. A mixed economy combines elements of both a market and a planned economy. In this system, some key industries and resources are owned by the government, while other sectors are managed by private companies. The government intervenes in the economy to correct market failures, promote social justice, and protect the welfare of the population, while private companies operate freely in other sectors. In a mixed economy, the government can implement policies such as progressive taxation, subsidies, labor regulations, social security, and public services to ensure that the basic needs of all citizens are met, without the system being completely controlled by the state. At the same time, the private sector remains the engine of competition and innovation, allowing consumers to choose from a variety of products and services. The mixed economy seeks to balance market efficiency with social equity. This means that the market is used to allocate most resources efficiently, but the government intervenes when necessary to ensure that resources are distributed fairly and that all citizens have access to economic opportunities. Examples of mixed economies include most modern countries, such as the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and many European nations, which combine a high degree of free market with social welfare policies. 4. Comparison of economic organization alternatives. Each system of economic organization has its advantages and disadvantages, and the choice of a system depends on society's priorities in terms of efficiency, social justice, and economic freedom. In a market economy, efficiency and innovation are promoted through competition, but there can be economic inequalities and market failures that can leave some sectors of the population without access to essential products and services. On the contrary, the planned economy aims at equality and universal access to goods and services, but the centralization of decisions can lead to inefficiencies and lack of dynamism. The mixed economy tries to combine the best of both worlds, ensuring that the benefits of competition are maintained, but at the same time guaranteeing that the basic needs of citizens are met. 5. The role of government in a mixed economy. The government in a mixed economy plays several crucial roles. First, it acts as a regulator, establishing laws and regulations that protect the rights of consumers, the environment, and workers. Antitrust laws and competition regulations ensure that companies do not abuse their market power. The government also acts as a provider of public goods, ensuring that citizens have access to essential services such as education, health, and security. In addition, the government plays a role in redistributing wealth through a progressive tax system, in which higher-income individuals pay more taxes than lower-income individuals. This helps to reduce economic inequalities and to guarantee that all citizens can access a minimum level of welfare. Finally, the government can intervene in times of economic crisis to stabilize the economy and support the most vulnerable sectors of society. This includes the use of economic stimulus policies, such as increased public spending or tax cuts, to boost demand and promote economic growth. 6. Conclusion. In conclusion, each system of economic organization has its advantages and disadvantages. The market economy encourages efficiency and innovation, but can generate inequality and market failures. The planned economy seeks to guarantee equity and social justice, but at the expense of efficiency. The mixed economy tries to combine the best of both worlds, ensuring market efficiency while guaranteeing social justice and correcting market failures. Most modern economies operate under a mixed system, where the government plays a crucial role in regulating markets and providing essential public services. The key to the success of a mixed economy lies in finding the right balance between market intervention and government intervention to ensure that resources are used efficiently and that all citizens have access to a decent life. This chapter has shown the main alternatives for economic organization, and in the next chapter, we will explore how the social market economy is built on these principles, seeking a balance between the free market and state intervention to promote both economic freedom and social justice. Chapter 6. Essential Elements of the Market. In this chapter, we will address the essential elements of the market, which are the fundamental components that allow markets to function and facilitate the exchange of goods and services. These elements include the actors in the market, the transactions that take place, the conditions of competition, and the pricing mechanisms that coordinate buying and selling decisions. Understanding these elements is essential to understanding how markets can be efficient, how they work in practice, and how they can be affected by internal and external factors. 1. Market actors. Markets are made up of various actors who interact to exchange goods and services. These actors include consumers. These are the people or entities that demand products and services. Consumers make decisions about what to buy based on their preferences and the prices they are willing to pay. In a market economy, consumers play a crucial role, as their purchasing decisions determine what goods and services will be produced and in what quantities. Producers. These are the companies or individuals that offer goods and services. Producers make decisions about what to produce, how much to produce, and how to produce, based on market demand and their ability to generate profits. Producers must be competitive and efficient to survive in the market, as they face pressure from other companies that can offer similar products at lower prices or with better quality. Government. Although not always a direct player in all markets, the government plays a fundamental role in the regulation and supervision of markets. Its intervention can include the implementation of laws and regulations to protect consumer rights, prevent the abuse of market power by companies, and correct market failures such as pollution or monopolies. In addition, the government can act as a producer in some key sectors, such as health, education, and infrastructure. Intermediaries. These are actors that facilitate the exchange of goods and services between producers and consumers. Intermediaries can be distributors, wholesalers, retailers, or digital platforms that help connect the parties involved in a transaction. These actors play an essential role in the functioning of many markets, as they reduce friction and make products reach consumers more efficiently. 2. Transactions. A transaction is the process by which a buyer and a seller exchange goods or services for a certain price. Transactions can vary in size, complexity, and frequency, but they all share some common elements. Goods and services. These are the objects that are exchanged in the market. Goods are tangible products such as food, clothing, or technology, while services are intangible such as education, health, or transportation. Price. This is the value assigned to a good or service in the market. The price is mainly determined by the interaction between supply and demand. Prices can fluctuate according to market conditions, competition, and other factors such as the availability of resources or consumer expectations. Exchange. An exchange occurs when one of the parties delivers a good or service in exchange for payment. In a market economy, transactions are generally carried out voluntarily, as both parties expect to benefit from the exchange. Transactions can also be direct or indirect. In direct transactions, the buyer and seller exchange goods or services immediately and without intermediaries. In indirect transactions, other actors may be involved, such as intermediaries or platforms that facilitate the exchange. 3. Conditions of competition. Competition is a fundamental aspect of any market, as it encourages companies to be more efficient, to improve product quality, and to reduce prices. Perfect competition is an idealized concept in which there are many companies and buyers, homogeneous products, and free entry and exit to the market. However, in practice, many markets do not meet these criteria and may have imperfect competition. Different forms of competition can occur in markets. Perfect competition. In a perfectly competitive market, there are many companies selling identical products, which means that no producer has any power over the price. Consumers can choose from a wide range of options, and prices are freely adjusted by supply and demand. This type of competition is rarely found in practice, but it is a useful model for understanding how efficient markets work. Monopoly. A monopoly occurs when a single company controls the supply of a good or service in the market. In this case, the company has significant control over prices and production, which can lead to higher prices and fewer options for consumers. Monopolies often arise when there are significant barriers for other companies to enter the market, such as exclusive control of a resource, the high initial investment required, or government support. Oligopoly. In an oligopoly, a few companies dominate the market. Although there is competition between these companies, they often have enough power to influence prices and market conditions. In some cases, companies in an oligopoly may collude, although this is illegal in many countries, to set higher prices or reduce competition. Monopolistic competition. In a monopolistically competitive market, there are many companies, but each sells differentiated products that are not identical. Although the products may be similar, each company has some control over the price due to consumer preferences and loyalties. The clothing, restaurant, and technology markets are examples of monopolistic competition, where brands offer products with unique characteristics to appeal to different consumer segments. 4. Pricing mechanisms. Prices are an essential mechanism that facilitates the functioning of the market. In a market economy, prices are determined by the interaction of supply and demand and serve as signals for both consumers and producers. Signals for consumers. Prices indicate to consumers the relative value of products. A high price generally indicates that a good is scarce or of high quality, while a low price may indicate the opposite. Consumers make purchasing decisions based on these prices, comparing the benefits they obtain with the costs they must assume. Signals for producers. Prices also indicate to producers which goods are in greatest demand and, therefore, which products may be most profitable to produce. If a good has a high price, producers can increase the supply of that good to meet demand. If the price is low, producers may decide to shift their focus to other, more profitable products. Market equilibrium. The equilibrium price is the price at which the quantity demanded by consumers is equal to the quantity supplied by producers. When a market is in equilibrium, there is no pressure for prices to change. However, if demand increases or supply decreases, the price tends to rise. If supply increases or demand decreases, the price tends to fall. 5. Factors affecting prices. Several external factors can influence the prices of goods and services, even when supply and demand are the main forces determining prices. These factors include government policy. Fiscal and monetary policies, as well as price regulation, can affect the behavior of markets. For example, taxes on certain goods can increase their price, while subsidies can reduce the price of other products. Technology and innovation. Technological progress can reduce production costs and, therefore, lower product prices. The introduction of new products can also affect the demand for existing products, changing the dynamics of prices. Macroeconomic conditions. Factors such as inflation, the interest rate, and overall economic growth can influence prices. In times of inflation, the prices of goods and services tend to increase, while in periods of recession, prices may fall due to lower demand. This chapter has examined the essential elements of the market, exploring how the actors interact, how transactions are made, the importance of competition, and the crucial role of prices in the coordination of the economy. Understanding these aspects allows us to see how markets can be efficient, but also how they can fail, leading to the need for government intervention in some cases. In the next chapter, we will look in more depth at how supply and demand are integrated into the theory of prices and how they affect the economy as a whole. Chapter 7. Supply and Demand in the Market. In this chapter, we will look in more depth at two of the most fundamental concepts in economics, supply and demand. These are the pillars on which the functioning of markets is based. The interaction between supply and demand determines not only the prices of goods and services, but also the quantity of products that are produced and consumed in an economy. By understanding these concepts, we can understand how markets work, how prices are adjusted, and what factors can alter the balance between supply and demand. 1. Demand. Demand refers to the quantity of a good or service that consumers are willing and able to purchase at different prices over a given period of time. The relationship between the price of a good and the quantity demanded generally follows the law of demand, which states that, ceteris paribus, that is, all other things being equal, the lower the price of a good, the greater the quantity demanded of that good, and vice versa. There are several factors that can affect the demand for a good or service, in addition to price. Consumer income. When consumer income increases, the demand for goods and services tends to increase, as people have more purchasing power to buy products. For example, if people have more money, they might demand more luxury products or services such as tourism and advanced technology. Preferences and tastes. Changes in consumer preferences and tastes can also affect demand. If a product becomes more popular, demand for that product will increase, even if the price remains the same. Prices of substitute goods. The demand for a good can also be affected by the price of substitute goods. If the price of a substitute good decreases, the demand for the original good may decrease, as consumers opt for the cheaper substitute. For example, if the price of electric bicycles drops, the demand for traditional bicycles may decrease. Prices of complementary goods. The demand for a good is also influenced by the prices of complementary goods, those that are consumed together. If the price of printers falls, for example, the demand for ink cartridges may increase, as both products are used together. Future expectations. Consumers' expectations about the future also play an important role in purchasing decisions. If consumers expect prices to rise in the future, they may increase their demand in the present, in anticipation of price increases. 2. Supply. Supply refers to the quantity of a good or service that producers are willing and able to offer at different prices in a given period. The law of supply states that, ceteris paribus, the higher the price of a good, the greater the quantity that producers are willing to offer, and vice versa. Like demand, Supply can be influenced by several factors. Input or resource prices. When input prices, such as labor, raw materials, or energy, increase, the cost of production also increases. This can lead producers to reduce the quantity of goods they are willing to offer at a given price. For example, if the price of oil rises, energy producers may reduce the supply of gasoline due to increased production costs. Technological advances tend to make production more efficient, allowing producers to offer more goods at a lower price. For example, factory automation can reduce production costs and increase the supply of manufactured goods. Number of producers. If the number of producers in the market increases, the total supply of the good will also increase, as more companies will be producing the same product. This can lead to a decrease in prices if supply exceeds demand. Future expectations. Producers' expectations about the future can also affect supply. If producers expect the prices of goods to increase in the future, they may reduce their supply in the present in order to sell more at higher prices in the future. On the other hand, if they expect prices to fall, they may increase supply in order to sell now before prices fall. 3. Market equilibrium. Market equilibrium occurs when the quantity demanded of a good is equal to the quantity supplied. At this point, there is neither a shortage nor an excess of supply, and the market price stabilizes. The price at which supply and demand are equal is called the equilibrium price, and the quantity bought and sold at that price is the equilibrium quantity. In market equilibrium, consumers are willing to buy exactly the quantity of goods that producers are willing to offer, which means that the market is clean. That is, there are no unsold goods and no consumers without products. This equilibrium is not static, as prices can change due to factors affecting supply and demand. For example, if the demand for a good increases due to a fashion trend or a change in consumer preferences, the demand curve shifts to the right. If supply does not change, the price will increase until the quantity demanded and the quantity supplied are equal again. If the supply of a good increases, but demand remains constant, the price will tend to fall until a new equilibrium is reached. 4. Supply and demand shocks. Supply and demand shocks are unexpected events that can cause an abrupt change in market equilibrium. These shocks can be positive or negative. Demand shock, an unexpected increase in the demand for a good, for example, due to an improvement in consumer income or a change in preferences, can cause an increase in the price of the good if supply cannot adjust quickly. Conversely, a fall in demand, such as might occur during an economic recession, can reduce prices. Supply shock. A supply shock occurs when there is an unexpected change in the supply of a good. This can be caused by events such as a disruption in the supply chain, natural disasters, or a change in input costs. An increase in production costs can reduce supply, which increases prices. If supply increases, prices may fall, but this depends on the demand response. These shocks can have significant effects on prices and the quantity of goods exchanged, and can last from a short period of time to several decades, depending on the nature of the shock. 5. Elasticity of supply and demand. Elasticity is a concept that measures the sensitivity of the quantity demanded or the quantity supplied to a change in price. In other words, it shows how much the quantity of a good changes when the price varies. Price elasticity of demand. The price elasticity of demand measures the response of the quantity demanded to a change in the price of a good. If demand is elastic, a small change in price will cause a large change in the quantity demanded. If demand is inelastic, a change in price will have less of an impact on the quantity demanded. Supply price elasticity. Supply price elasticity measures the response of the quantity supplied to a change in price. If supply is elastic, producers can easily increase the quantity supplied when the price increases. If supply is inelastic, producers cannot increase supply quickly, even if the price increases. Elasticity is important because it affects how consumers and producers react to changes in prices and how markets adjust in response to shocks. This chapter has explored how the interaction between supply and demand determines prices and quantities in markets, and how changes in the factors that affect supply and demand can alter market equilibrium. Understanding these concepts is key to understanding how markets work and how economic decisions are made. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into the role of the state in markets and how public policy can influence the functioning of supply and demand. Chapter 8. The role of the state in markets. In this chapter, we will analyze the role of the state in markets, a crucial topic for understanding how public policies can influence the economy, improve the functioning of markets, and correct market failures. Although markets function through the interaction of supply and demand, they do not always operate perfectly, and sometimes the state must intervene to ensure that markets contribute to the general welfare of society. State intervention can take many forms, from the regulation and supervision of markets to the provision of public goods and the redistribution of wealth. We will examine the main reasons why the state intervenes in markets and how these interventions can improve economic efficiency and social equity. 1. The justification for state intervention in markets. In a market economy, most transactions are managed autonomously by individuals and companies, but the state plays an important role in various aspects of the market's operation. State intervention in markets is justified for various reasons. Correcting market failures. Markets do not always produce efficient or fair results. Market failures can arise when markets do not allocate resources optimally, as in the case of monopolies, externalities, or public goods. The state can intervene to correct these failures and ensure that resources are used efficiently and fairly. Promoting competition. Competitive markets tend to be more efficient and generate better results for consumers. However, monopolies or oligopolies can restrict competition, which is detrimental to consumers and the economy in general. The state intervenes to promote competition and prevent anti-competitive practices, such as price fixing or the abuse of market power. Ensuring social justice. Markets alone do not always guarantee the equitable distribution of resources. The state can intervene to redistribute wealth and ensure that all citizens have access to basic goods and services, such as education, health, and housing. This helps to reduce economic inequalities and ensure a minimum level of well-being for all. Stabilizing the economy. Markets can be volatile, and economies often experience cycles of expansion and recession. The state can intervene to smooth out economic fluctuations through fiscal and monetary policies that stimulate demand during recessions and control inflation during boom periods. 2. Forms of state intervention in markets. The state can intervene in markets in a variety of ways, depending on economic and social needs and objectives. Some of the most common forms of state intervention are described below. Regulation and supervision. One of the main functions of the state is to regulate and supervise markets to ensure that companies operate fairly and efficiently. State regulation can take several forms. Antitrust regulations. The state establishes antitrust laws to prevent a company or group of companies from controlling the market in a way that harms consumers. These laws seek to promote competition, prevent price-fixing agreements, and dismantle monopolies that do not serve the public interest. Price regulation. In certain markets, the state can intervene to set maximum or minimum prices. For example, it can set a maximum price for basic products such as food or energy to prevent prices from rising too high and becoming unaffordable for consumers. It can also set minimum prices in markets such as agriculture to ensure that producers receive fair compensation. Environmental protection. The state regulates economic activities that affect the environment, such as industrial pollution, through laws and regulations. This includes the imposition of environmental taxes or limits on emissions to reduce the negative effects of economic activity on natural resources and public health. Provision of public goods. Public goods are those that are non-excludable and non-rivalrous, which means that their consumption by one person does not prevent others from consuming them, and it is not possible to exclude anyone from accessing these goods. Examples of public goods include national defense. The government ensures the protection of citizens and their interests through defense and security spending, a good from which all citizens benefit, regardless of their contribution. Education. The provision of public education is a key intervention of the state. An accessible and quality education system benefits society as a whole, as it contributes to a more skilled workforce and greater equality of opportunity. Infrastructure. The state is also responsible for the construction and maintenance of critical infrastructure such as roads, bridges, public transportation, and communication networks. These assets are essential for the functioning of the economy and the quality of life of citizens. Redistribution of wealth. The market alone does not guarantee an equitable distribution of wealth, which can lead to economic inequality. The state can intervene through redistribution policies to improve equity and reduce income disparities. Some of the ways in which the state can redistribute wealth include progressive taxation. A progressive tax system means that people with higher incomes pay a higher proportion of their income in tax. This helps to fund social programs and redistribute resources to the most disadvantaged sectors. Social transfers. The state can provide direct transfers to low-income individuals or groups, such as housing subsidies, unemployment benefits, or pensions. These transfers help to guarantee that all citizens have access to basic goods and services, regardless of their income level. Subsidies and welfare programs. Subsidies to key sectors, such as agriculture or health, can help reduce the costs of essential goods and services for the poorest citizens. Social welfare programs can also help people get through periods of economic crisis or temporary need. Monetary and fiscal policy. The state can directly influence the behavior of markets through monetary and fiscal policies. Monetary policy is managed by the central bank and affects the amount of money in circulation and interest rates. Fiscal policy is managed by the government and refers to the use of taxes and public spending to influence the economy. Expansionary monetary policy. During periods of recession or economic slowdown, the central bank can lower interest rates and increase the money supply to stimulate investment and consumption. This can help increase aggregate demand and reduce unemployment. Expansionary fiscal policy. The government can increase public spending or reduce taxes to stimulate the economy. This measure is particularly useful during recessions, when private demand is insufficient to maintain economic growth. 3. Limitations and challenges of state intervention. While state intervention in markets can improve economic efficiency and social justice, it also presents challenges and limitations. Some of the difficulties that can arise include government inefficiency. Governments are not always efficient at allocating resources or implementing policies. Bureaucracy. Corruption or lack of information can lead to an inefficient allocation of public resources. Market distortion. State intervention can distort the market if not implemented properly. For example, price controls can lead to shortages or oversupply, and poorly designed subsidies can foster inefficiency and dependency. Fiscal burdens. Financing public policies through taxation can have negative effects, especially if taxes are too high or poorly structured. This can discourage private investment, reduce savings, and increase the burden on the productive sectors of the economy. 4. Conclusion. In summary, the state plays a crucial role in markets by correcting market failures, promoting competition, guaranteeing social justice, and stabilizing the economy. While state intervention is essential for markets to function properly, it can also present challenges related to efficiency and potential distorting effects. Therefore, the key is to find the right balance between state intervention and free market operation so that markets operate efficiently and contribute to the general welfare of society. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into how public policies can influence labor markets and how the state can intervene to improve working conditions and promote employment equity. Chapter 9. Competition and Market Structures. In this chapter, we will explore competition and market structures, two key concepts for understanding how markets work and how the price and quantity of goods and services produced and consumed are determined. Competition plays an essential role in the efficient allocation of resources, in innovation, and in improving product quality. However, not all markets are equally competitive, and the structure of the market influences the way in which economic actors interact, make decisions, and affect social welfare. 1. Competition in the markets. Competition is a process in which companies strive to offer the best products and services at the lowest possible prices in order to attract consumers. Competition is fundamental because it encourages innovation, improves efficiency, and guarantees that consumers obtain quality products at reasonable prices. In a highly competitive market, companies do not have the power to set prices above what the market determines, as they can always be outdone by the competition. This also forces companies to constantly improve their products, production processes, and customer service, which translates into benefits for consumers. However, markets are not always perfectly competitive. Depending on the structure of the market, companies may have more or less power to influence prices and market conditions. Government competition policies, such as antitrust laws, are essential to ensure that competition remains fair and effective. 2. Different market structures. Markets can adopt different structures depending on the number of companies operating in the market, the type of products they sell, and the degree of control they have over prices. These market structures are key to understanding how economic actors behave and how prices and the quantity of goods in the market are determined. The main market structures are perfect competition. Perfect competition is a theoretical structure in which there are many companies in the market. All of them sell homogeneous, identical products, and there are no barriers for companies to enter or leave the market. In this type of market, consumers have many options to choose from, and no company has the power to influence the market price. Companies are price takers, which means that they accept the price determined by the market without being able to influence it. Perfect competition is idealized because it is rarely found in the real world. However, it serves as a reference model for evaluating market efficiency. In perfect competition, resources are allocated efficiently, prices reflect marginal production costs, and consumer welfare is maximized. Monopoly. In a monopoly, a single company controls the entire market for a good or service. Because there are no competitors, the monopolist has the power to set the price of its product without worrying about competition. This can lead to higher prices and lower production compared to what would be produced in a competitive market. Monopolies can arise for various reasons, such as exclusive control of an essential resource, high entry costs that make it difficult for other companies to enter the market, or the granting of exclusive rights by the government. Although monopolies can be more efficient in some cases, for example, when economies of scale are significant, they are generally less efficient than competitive markets and can lead to an unfair redistribution of wealth, harming consumers. Oligopoly. In an oligopoly, a small number of companies control the market. Unlike a monopoly, where only one company dominates, in an oligopoly there are several competing companies that have significant power over the market, but not enough to be completely dominant. The products can be homogeneous or differentiated, depending on the sector. In an oligopoly, companies are usually very aware of the actions of their competitors, and the pricing or production decisions of one company can influence the behavior of others. Often, companies in an oligopoly have market power, which means that they can influence prices, although they do not completely control them. In some cases, companies may enter into informal, or even illegal, agreements to fix prices or divide up the market, which reduces competition and harms consumers. Monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition lies between perfect competition and monopoly. In this market structure, there are many companies, but each offers a product that is different from those of its competitors. The differentiation can be in terms of quality, features, brand, or customer service. As a result, companies have some pricing power, but still face competition from other companies offering similar products. Monopolistic competition is commonly seen in markets for non-essential products such as clothing, restaurants, cosmetics, and other consumer goods. In this type of market, consumers have a choice between similar but not identical products, and companies compete on both price and product differentiation. 3. The impact of competition on the economy. Competition has a profound impact on economic efficiency and consumer welfare. The benefits of competition include lower prices. In competitive markets, companies fight to attract consumers, which tends to reduce prices. In addition, competition forces companies to improve their efficiency and reduce production costs. Higher quality. Competition encourages innovation and improvement in product quality. Companies that do not innovate or improve the quality of their products run the risk of being overtaken by more efficient competitors. More options for consumers. In competitive markets, consumers have access to a wide range of products, allowing them to choose according to their preferences and needs. However, competition can also have negative effects, especially when there is insufficient competition in the market or when the concentration of power in the hands of a few companies is allowed. In these cases, competition can be imperfect, which can result in high prices, lower quality, and fewer options for consumers. 4. The role of the state in promoting competition. The state plays a fundamental role in promoting competition and correcting market failures. Some of the main actions that the state can take include antitrust laws. The state must ensure that monopolies or anti-competitive practices that harm consumers do not form. This may include breaking up large companies that control the market or preventing mergers that reduce competition. Price regulation. In some markets where competition is not sufficient, the state can intervene to regulate prices and prevent companies from setting excessive prices or imposing unfair conditions on consumers. Promoting competition in strategic sectors. The state can promote competition in key sectors such as energy, telecommunications, or transportation, where markets tend to be concentrated. This may include creating incentives for new companies and removing barriers to entry. Consumer protection. In addition to promoting competition, the state must also protect consumer rights, ensuring that companies do not deceive or exploit buyers. Consumer protection laws, clear information, and product quality are essential to ensure fair competition. 5. Conclusion. In summary, competition is an essential component of efficient markets. Different market structures affect how companies interact, how prices are determined, and how goods and services are distributed. Perfectly competitive markets are ideal from an efficiency point of view, but monopolies and oligopolies can arise and generate negative effects for consumers and the economy in general. The state plays a crucial role in ensuring that markets function efficiently and fairly, promoting competition and protecting consumers from anti-competitive practices. State intervention in regulation, consumer protection, and the removal of barriers to entry is essential to maintaining dynamic and efficient markets that benefit society as a whole. In the next chapter, we will explore business theory and how business decisions influence the production and distribution of goods and services in the economy. Chapter 10. Business Theory and Supply. In this chapter, we will look at business theory and its relationship with supply in the market. Business theory tries to explain how companies make decisions about what to produce, how to produce it, and in what quantity. It also looks at how companies interact with markets to maximize their profits, how company decisions affect the supply of goods and services, and how these decisions can be influenced by competition, technology, costs, and demand. Business decisions about production and supply are fundamental to the functioning of markets. Understanding how businesses make these decisions helps us understand supply behavior and the impact it has on the price and quantity of products available in the economy. 1. The main objective of business: maximizing profits. The main objective of most companies is to maximize profits. Profits are defined as the difference between the total income generated by the sale of products and the total production costs. To achieve this objective, companies must make strategic decisions about the quantity of products to be produced, the prices to be charged, and the resources to be used in the production process. A company's profit can be calculated as total profit equals total revenue, total costs. Total revenue is obtained by multiplying the price of the good by the quantity sold, while total costs include both fixed and variable production costs. Fixed costs are those that do not change with the level of production, such as the rent of the facilities or the salary of the managers, while variable costs depend directly on the quantity produced, such as the cost of raw materials and the salary of the workers. The objective of maximizing profits means that companies must make informed decisions about production and costs and adapt their strategy to market conditions and consumer demands. 2. The company's supply, determining the quantity to produce. A company's supply is determined by the quantity of goods it is willing and able to produce and sell at different prices. The production quantity of a company depends on several factors, including production costs, market demand, and the sale price. The company adjusts its supply to maximize its profits, which is achieved when marginal production, the additional cost of producing one more unit, is equal to marginal revenue, the additional income generated by the sale of one more unit. Company supply curve. A firm's supply curve shows the quantity of a good that the firm is willing to produce at different price levels. In general, when the price of a good increases, firms are willing to produce more, as higher prices make it possible to cover higher production costs and increase profits. The shape of the supply curve depends on the company's cost structure. In competitive markets, companies produce until the price is equal to the marginal cost. In less competitive markets, such as monopolies or oligopolies, companies can restrict supply to maximize prices and profits. 3. The production function of the firm. The production function is a mathematical relationship that describes the quantity of goods that a firm can produce from different combinations of inputs. Inputs include factors of production such as labor, capital, land, and technology. The production function helps firms determine the optimal amount of resources they should use to produce the desired quantity of products. The production function is influenced by the law of diminishing marginal returns, which states that keeping one of the inputs constant, adding additional units of another input, for example, more workers, will lead to an increase in production, but at a decreasing rate. For example, if a factory hires more workers without increasing the amount of machinery or space, the additional production of each worker will be less than that of the previous worker. This implies that, at first, adding more workers may be profitable, but after a certain point, the marginal productivity of each worker will decrease. 4. Types of production costs. Business theory also studies production costs, which have a direct influence on supply decisions. Production costs include both fixed and variable costs. Fixed costs, these are costs that do not change, regardless of the amount of production. Examples include the rental of facilities, the cost of machinery, and the salaries of administrative staff. These costs must be covered even if the company does not produce anything. Variable costs, these are the costs that depend on the quantity of production. They include the costs of materials, direct labor, and the energy used in the production process. Variable costs increase as the company produces more goods. Total costs, these are the sum of fixed costs and variable costs. As production increases, variable costs increase, but fixed costs remain constant. Economies of scale occur when, as production increases, the average cost per unit decreases due to efficiency. Marginal cost and production decisions. Marginal cost is the additional cost incurred by a company for producing one more unit of a good. Companies make production decisions based on marginal cost and marginal revenue, the additional revenue obtained from the sale of one more unit. If the marginal cost is less than the marginal revenue, the company will continue to produce more, as it is earning more for each additional unit produced. 5. Competition and supply decisions. The structure of the market in which a company operates significantly influences its supply decisions. In competitive markets, companies are price takers, which means that they have no control over the price of the good and must accept the market price. In this case, companies determine their production quantity based on marginal cost and marginal revenue. In monopolistic or oligopolistic markets, firms have greater control over price, as they can adjust supply to influence prices. Supply decisions in these markets depend not only on costs, but also on competitive strategies and profit maximization. 6. Conclusion. The theory of the firm provides an in-depth understanding of how companies make key decisions about what to produce, how to produce it, and in what quantity. These decisions are influenced by production costs, market competition, and consumer demand. Companies seek to maximize their profits, which means that they must carefully balance costs and prices. Furthermore, the way in which companies interact with markets and respond to changes in prices has a direct influence on the supply of goods and services, which affects prices and market efficiency. In the next chapter, we will take a closer look at the factors that affect aggregate supply in an economy and how business decisions can influence production and economic growth at the macroeconomic level. Chapter 11. Fundamentals of the Social Market Economy. In this chapter, we will explore the fundamentals of the social market economy, an economic model that seeks to balance market efficiency with social justice. The social market economy is not simply a market economy, but a structure that incorporates values of solidarity, social welfare, and sustainability, without renouncing the benefits that competitive markets can generate. The social market economy model was developed mainly in the mid-20th century in response to the economic, social, and political problems arising from the Great Depression and the totalitarian regimes that emerged in Europe. It is particularly associated with the German economist Ludwig Erhard, who implemented it in West Germany after the Second World War. Below, we will discuss its principles, characteristics, objectives, and the role of the state in this model. 1. Fundamental principles of the social market economy. The social market economy is based on a series of principles that seek to combine market efficiency with social justice and economic stability. These principles include free market and competition. The social market economy recognizes that free markets are fundamental to promoting competition, innovation, and economic efficiency. The forces of supply and demand, together with competition between companies, are essential to ensure an efficient allocation of resources. However, the system also recognizes that the market alone cannot guarantee that the benefits reach all members of society. Social justice and welfare. The social market economy seeks to guarantee that all citizens have access to a dignified life, regardless of their level of income or social position. This implies policies of redistribution, social security, access to public services, and protection of labor rights. The state has a crucial role in correcting inequalities and promoting social cohesion. Solidarity. A key principle of the social market economy is solidarity, which implies that citizens must cooperate to ensure that the most vulnerable have access to the necessary resources and services. This translates into social policies that support the unemployed, retired, disabled, and other vulnerable groups. Mixed economy. The social market economy is a mixed economy model, which means that it recognizes both private property and state intervention in the economy. In this model, the state does not assume full ownership of the means of production, but it does regulate the market and provide essential public goods and services such as education, health, infrastructure, and social security. 2. The role of the state in the social market economy. In a social market economy, the role of the state is fundamental in ensuring that the benefits of the market are distributed equitably and that the welfare of society as a whole is maintained. Although the system emphasizes market efficiency, the state intervenes to correct market failures and guarantee social justice. The key functions of the state include market regulation. The state establishes the rules of the game so that markets function efficiently and fairly. This includes protecting competition, preventing monopolies, regulating prices when necessary, and implementing labor and environmental standards. The state ensures that markets operate ethically and that companies do not exploit consumers or workers. Wealth redistribution. Through fiscal policies, the state redistributes resources to reduce economic and social inequalities. This is achieved through progressive taxation, direct transfers, such as subsidies or pensions, and the financing of essential public services, such as education and health. The aim is to ensure that all members of society, regardless of their economic status, have access to a decent quality of life. Provision of public goods. The state is responsible for providing goods and services that are essential for the functioning of society, but that the market cannot offer efficiently, such as defense, infrastructure, the judicial system, education, and health. These goods and services are financed through taxes and are available to all citizens, regardless of their ability to pay. Social protection. The state must provide a safety net for citizens in the event of unemployment, illness, retirement, or disability. Pension systems, health insurance, and unemployment benefits are examples of how the state ensures that no one is excluded from access to essential services and economic support in situations of vulnerability. 3. Characteristics of the social market economy. The social market economy has a number of distinctive features that set it apart from other economic models. These features are compatibility with a free market. Although the model emphasizes state intervention, it is still a market economy, in the sense that private companies play a central role in the production and distribution of goods and services. Private ownership of the means of production is essential to foster competition and innovation. Welfare state. The social market economy is closely linked to the idea of the welfare state. The state not only regulates the market, but also ensures that all citizens have access to the basic services necessary to lead a dignified life. Health, education, and social security are fundamental rights that should be available to all. Balance between economic freedom and social justice. This model seeks to achieve a balance between economic freedom and social justice. On the one hand, it allows companies to operate freely in the market, seeking to maximize profits. On the other hand, it intervenes to correct inequalities and ensure that the benefits of economic growth are distributed more equitably. Economic sustainability. The social market economy promotes sustained economic growth that does not depend on the indiscriminate exploitation of natural resources or social inequality. Economic sustainability refers to the need to create a system that can be sustained in the long term, providing well-being for all citizens while protecting the environment and fostering innovation. 4. Objectives of the social market economy. The main objective of the social market economy is to achieve balanced economic development that is both efficient and fair. To achieve this, it focuses on three key objectives. Economic efficiency. The aim is to ensure that resources are allocated efficiently, exploiting the potential of the market to foster competition, innovation, and productivity. Competition allows prices to reflect the real costs of production and products to be of the best possible quality. Social justice. Through redistribution policies, the state ensures that the benefits of economic growth reach all sectors of society, especially the most vulnerable. This involves guaranteeing universal access to basic services such as health and education and reducing economic and social disparities. Economic stability. The model also seeks to ensure long-term economic stability, avoiding cyclical market excesses such as financial crises and maintaining a full employment economy. Economic stability is achieved through state intervention in the regulation of financial markets, monetary policy, and fiscal policies. 5. Conclusion. The social market economy offers a balanced approach between the free market and state intervention, seeking to combine the benefits of economic efficiency with the need for social justice. This model recognizes that markets are powerful engines of growth, but it also recognizes market failures and the need for intervention to ensure that the benefits of economic development reach all citizens. The state plays a crucial role in regulating the market, redistributing wealth, and providing essential public goods and services. This model has been successfully implemented in many advanced economies, especially in Europe, and has proven that it is possible to foster economic growth and innovation while ensuring a more equitable distribution of wealth. In the next chapter, we will explore in more depth how the social market economy can adapt to contemporary challenges such as globalization and environmental sustainability. Chapter 12. Sociopolitical Principles in the Social Economy. In this chapter, we will explore the sociopolitical principles that underpin the social market economy model. These principles are related to social justice, economic democracy, and the common good, which are fundamental to achieving a balance between economic freedom and the collective interest. Through a combination of public policies and shared values, the social market economy seeks to create a more just and cohesive society where the benefits of economic growth are distributed equitably. 1. Social justice as a fundamental principle. Social justice is one of the pillars of the social market economy. This principle refers to the idea that all citizens should have the opportunity to access the resources necessary to lead a dignified life, regardless of their economic position, their social origin, or their place of residence. Social justice promotes equal opportunities, ensuring that no one is left behind in the distribution of the benefits of the economy. Unlike more laissez-faire economic models, which assume that markets are sufficient to guarantee justice, the social market economy recognizes that the market alone cannot always guarantee an equitable distribution of wealth. In this model, the state plays a crucial role in correcting economic inequalities and providing a social safety net to protect the most vulnerable. Measures to promote social justice. To guarantee social justice, the state implements a series of policies that include redistribution of wealth through a progressive tax system where the richest pay a higher proportion of their income in taxes. The aim is to finance social welfare programs and reduce economic inequality. This can include subsidies and direct transfers to the most disadvantaged sectors. Universal access to public services. The model promotes equal access to essential services such as education, healthcare, housing, and transportation. These services are not only fundamental rights, but also tools for reducing social and economic inequality. Social security. The state provides a social security system that ensures the welfare of citizens in situations of unemployment, disability, retirement, or poverty. This is done through pension programs, unemployment benefits, and health insurance. 2. Economic democracy. Economic democracy is another central principle of the social market economy. This concept refers to the idea that citizens should not only participate actively in political processes, but also in the economic decisions that affect their daily lives. Economic democracy seeks to involve workers, businesses, and society in economic decision-making to ensure that the economic system is more inclusive and fair. Participation in decision-making. In a social market economy, the active participation of citizens and workers in economic decisions is encouraged, which contributes to a more equitable distribution of resources. Some forms of participation include trade unions and collective bargaining. Trade unions play a crucial role in the social market economy as they allow workers to collectively negotiate working conditions, wages, and benefits. This participation strengthens fairness in labor relations and promotes the improvement of working conditions. Participation in business management. In some countries, companies implement corporate governance models in which employees have a say in the company's strategic decisions. This can include participation on boards of directors or decision-making on wage policies and social benefits. Corporate social responsibility, CSR. Companies must also assume their social responsibility and contribute to the well-being of the community. CSR implies that companies not only seek to maximize profits, but also commit to sustainable development, social inclusion, and respect for human rights. 3. Social solidarity and community cohesion. Social solidarity is another fundamental principle of the social market economy. This principle is based on the idea that the members of a society should work together to guarantee the common good. Solidarity promotes cooperation between individuals, companies, and the state to collectively face social and economic challenges. Mutual support networks. Solidarity in a social market economy is reflected in policies and programs that seek to support the most vulnerable, ensuring that no citizen is excluded from access to essential resources. Some forms of social solidarity include safety nets for the most vulnerable. The state establishes support networks for people facing economic hardship, such as the poor, the unemployed, the elderly, and the disabled. This is achieved through social assistance programs, unemployment benefits, pensions, and medical services. Community cooperation initiatives. At the local level, communities can foster cooperation through neighborhood associations, worker cooperatives, and other forms of social organization that promote the common good. These initiatives can be aimed at providing basic services such as housing, education, or healthcare, especially in disadvantaged areas. Sustainable development. Solidarity also implies a collective responsibility towards the environment. Sustainable development policies seek to balance economic growth with the preservation of the natural environment so that future generations can also enjoy the economic benefits without compromising natural resources. 4. Open economy and responsible globalization. The social market economy is not limited to the national dimension, but also recognizes the importance of an open economy and responsible globalization. This principle implies that economies should be integrated into global trade, but in a way that promotes equity and sustainable development in all parts of the world. Fair trade and international development. At the international level, the social market economy defends principles such as fair trade and international cooperation. This implies that rich countries should work with developing countries to promote fair trade, eliminate unfair trade barriers, and support sustainable economic development in all regions of the world. Furthermore, governments must implement policies that prevent globalization from causing economic inequality within countries, ensuring that economic and trade reforms do not harm the most vulnerable sectors of the population. 5. Conclusion. The social market economy is not just an economic model, but a framework that integrates fundamental socio-political principles such as social justice, economic democracy, social solidarity, and sustainable development. These principles seek to create a more inclusive, fair, and equitable society, where the benefits of economic growth are not only distributed among the few, but reach all citizens, especially the most vulnerable. Through state intervention and cooperation between the private sector, workers, and society, the social market economy seeks to ensure that markets function efficiently while protecting the rights and welfare of all members of society. This model demonstrates that it is possible to balance economic freedom with social justice, creating a more inclusive and sustainable economic system. In the next chapter, We will explore the economic principles that underpin this model and how they are applied in practice to achieve balanced and sustainable economic development. Chapter 13: Economic Principles in the Social Market Economy. In this chapter, we will delve deeper into the economic principles that underpin the social market economy. These principles not only guide the organization and operation of the economic system, but also seek to achieve a balance between market efficiency and social welfare. Through these principles, the aim is to achieve an equitable distribution of resources and shared prosperity, without sacrificing economic freedom or competitiveness in the market. 1. Free market with state regulation. One of the key principles of the social market economy is the free market, but with adequate state intervention. In this model, the market plays an essential role in the allocation of resources, the setting of prices, and the distribution of goods and services. Competition in the market is seen as a driver of economic efficiency, promoting innovation, cost reduction, and improving the quality of products and services. However, the principle of the free market does not imply that the state is completely absent. The state has a fundamental role in regulating the market to correct its failures and promote the public interest. This is achieved through antitrust regulation. The state must guarantee that there is no abuse of market power, promoting competition and avoiding anti-competitive practices. Protection of consumer rights. Regulations that ensure product quality and price transparency are fundamental to a fair market. Control of externalities. The state intervenes to correct negative side effects of economic activities, such as environmental pollution, which are not assumed by companies in an unregulated market. The balance between a free market and state regulation is essential to ensure that competition is effective and that the benefits of the market economy are accessible to all members of society. 2. Balance between efficiency and equity. Economic efficiency and social equity are two fundamental principles that must be balanced within a social market economy. Economic efficiency refers to the ability to allocate resources in a way that maximizes the benefits of production and consumption. This implies that resources are used in the most productive way possible, without waste. However, efficiency alone is not enough, as an efficient market can generate inequality if no action is taken to guarantee the fair distribution of benefits. Therefore, the principle of equity seeks to reduce social and economic inequalities, ensuring that all individuals have access to basic resources and a decent quality of life. Equity also translates into the creation of a social welfare system that protects the most vulnerable in society. Policies to promote equity. To achieve this balance, the state implements public policies that include progressive taxation. The tax system is key to ensuring that higher-income individuals contribute more significantly to the financing of social welfare. Progressive taxation helps to fund programs that benefit the less fortunate, such as education, health, and social security. Universal public services. Universal access to basic services such as education and healthcare is a fundamental right in the social market economy. The state ensures that all citizens, regardless of their economic capacity, have access to these essential services. Social transfers. Subsidies and direct transfers, such as pensions or unemployment benefits, are key tools for reducing inequalities and providing a safety net for the most vulnerable citizens. 3. Macroeconomic stability and sustainable growth. Macroeconomic stability is an essential principle for the proper functioning of the social market economy. This implies maintaining stable levels of inflation, unemployment, and economic growth. Macroeconomic instability can negatively affect both market efficiency and equity, as it can generate uncertainty, unemployment, and inequality. Policies to ensure macroeconomic stability. The state plays a key role in maintaining macroeconomic stability through monetary and fiscal policies. Monetary policy. The central bank regulates the supply of money and interest rates to control inflation and boost employment. Maintaining low and stable inflation is crucial to guaranteeing consumers' purchasing power and price stability. Fiscal policy. The government uses public spending and taxes to influence the level of aggregate demand and investment. In times of recession, the government can increase public spending or reduce taxes to stimulate the economy. In boom times, it can reduce spending to avoid economic overheating. Furthermore, The social market economy model promotes sustainable economic growth, which does not depend exclusively on the exploitation of natural resources or increased inequality. Growth must be inclusive and respectful of the environment, promoting technological innovation and energy efficiency to ensure that growth is lasting and beneficial for all. 4. Corporate social responsibility. In the social market economy, companies not only seek to maximize their profits, but also have a responsibility to contribute to the well-being of society. Corporate social responsibility, CSR, is a key principle that implies that companies must take into account the social and environmental impact of their activities and operate in an ethical manner. Elements of corporate social responsibility. Some of the components of CSR include business ethics. Companies must operate in a transparent and honest manner, ensuring that their practices do not exploit workers or deceive consumers. This includes complying with labor and consumer protection laws. Environmental impact. Companies must be aware of their impact on the environment and seek sustainable solutions to minimize their ecological footprint. This includes the implementation of clean technologies and the responsible management of natural resources. Contribution to the community. Companies must actively participate in the development of the communities where they operate, whether through job creation, support for local initiatives, or the financing of social projects. 5. Conclusion. The social market economy is based on economic principles that seek to balance market efficiency with social justice. Through state regulation, redistribution of wealth, and the provision of public services, it seeks to ensure that the benefits of economic growth are accessible to all members of society. In addition, the model promotes macroeconomic stability and sustainable growth while emphasizing corporate social responsibility. These economic principles allow the system to function equitably and efficiently, fostering a dynamic economy that is not only profitable but also fair and respectful of human rights and the environment. In the next chapter, we will explore how the social market economy faces the global challenges of the 21st century, such as globalization, climate change, and social inequalities. Chapter 14. Interrelationships between social economy and law. In this chapter, we will explore the interrelationship between the social economy and the law, an essential aspect for understanding how economic policies and legal norms interact to create a more just and balanced society. The social market economy model is not only based on economic principles, but also on a normative framework that regulates the behavior of economic actors, protects the rights of citizens, and ensures social justice. The law plays a crucial role in economic organization and the distribution of resources. Laws and regulations help to correct market failures, guarantee fair competition, protect the environment, and lay the foundations for an inclusive and sustainable economic system. 1. The law as a regulator of the economy. The law is fundamental for establishing the rules of the game in any economic system, and in the social market economy, it has a key role in guaranteeing that markets function efficiently and that the rights of citizens are respected. There are various ways in which the law interacts with the economy, such as protection of competition. One of the main functions of law is to ensure that markets remain competitive. Antitrust and anti-monopoly laws are fundamental to prevent anti-competitive practices, such as price fixing, collusion between companies, and the creation of monopolies that limit consumer choice. Prevention of monopolies. The law prohibits a single company from controlling the market exclusively, as this can reduce competition, increase prices, and limit innovation. The law establishes regulations to dismantle monopolies and prevent companies from using unfair practices to exclude their competitors. Regulation of mergers and acquisitions. The law also regulates company mergers and acquisitions, ensuring that they do not lead to an excessive concentration of power in the hands of a few market players. The competition authorities review mergers to assess their effects on competition and market efficiency. Guarantee of private property and workers' rights. Private property is one of the fundamental pillars of the market system, and the law ensures that individuals and companies can own, use, and transfer goods and resources safely. Through the law, property rights are protected and mechanisms are established to resolve disputes over the possession of property. In addition, the law also plays a fundamental role in the protection of labor rights. This includes laws regulating working conditions, minimum wages, the right to strike, and fair working conditions. Labor policies are essential to ensure that workers are not exploited and have access to decent working conditions. Environmental regulation and social responsibility. The law also intervenes to guarantee that companies operate in a way that is responsible towards the environment and society. Through environmental protection laws, companies must comply with regulations on the use of natural resources, pollution, and waste management. Environmental laws seek to ensure that economic growth does not come at the cost of environmental deterioration, promoting a green and sustainable economy. Furthermore, the law establishes corporate social responsibility, CSR, which implies that companies must act not only in terms of their own profits, but also for the benefit of society in general. CSR laws oblige companies to respect human rights, offer fair working conditions, and adopt sustainable business practices. 2. Law as a tool for redistribution. One of the main objectives of the social market economy is to reduce economic and social inequalities. The law plays a crucial role in this respect through fiscal and social policies that ensure a fair redistribution of wealth. Tax laws, social security, and welfare programs are fundamental tools for achieving this objective. Progressive taxes and wealth redistribution. The progressive tax system is one of the ways in which the law promotes social justice. In this system, people with higher incomes pay a higher proportion of their income in taxes, which makes it possible to finance essential public services such as health, education, and housing. Through this process, the law ensures that resources are redistributed in a way that benefits the most needy citizens. Social security and welfare. The law also establishes the social security systems that protect individuals in vulnerable situations, such as unemployment, retirement, disability, or illness. These systems provide a minimum income or social benefits for citizens, ensuring that no one is excluded from access to basic services, regardless of their economic situation. The welfare system is key to protecting people facing temporary or long-term difficulties and is an essential component of social justice in a social market economy. 3. The law as a facilitator of international cooperation. Globalization has meant that national economies are increasingly interconnected, giving rise to the need for an international legal framework to regulate commercial and financial relations between countries. International law is essential for promoting fair trade, economic cooperation, and the protection of human rights at the global level. International trade agreements. International trade agreements, such as free trade agreements, and international organizations, such as the World Trade Organization and the European Union, allow countries to cooperate to facilitate trade, reduce tariff barriers, and establish common rules for international markets. These agreements seek to promote global economic development and ensure that international trade benefits all countries, especially the poorest. Protection of human rights at a global level. International law also protects human rights and promotes social justice at a global level. International laws, such as the Conventions on Human Rights, are fundamental in guaranteeing that countries respect the rights of workers, protect the environment, and avoid unfair labor practices or the exploitation of resources. 4. Conclusion. Law plays a crucial role in the social market economy by providing the regulatory framework necessary for markets to function efficiently, fairly, and sustainably. Through the regulation of competition, the protection of labor rights, the redistribution of wealth, and the protection of the environment, the law ensures that the benefits of economic growth are distributed equitably and that citizens have access to essential resources. Furthermore, international law facilitates global cooperation and ensures that globalized economies operate in a fair manner and with respect for human rights and the environment. The interaction between economics and law is fundamental to achieving a more inclusive, equitable, and sustainable society, where markets work for the well-being of all. In the next chapter, we will explore the evolution and application of the social market economy over time and its relevance in the current global economic context. Chapter 15. Evolution and Application of the Social Market Economy. In this chapter, we will analyze the evolution and application of the social market economy, looking at how it has developed over time and how it has been implemented in different countries, especially in Europe. This economic model, which began as an alternative to promote social and economic stability after the Second World War, has evolved to adapt to contemporary challenges such as globalization, economic crises, and new social demands. We will also discuss how the lessons learned from the historical experience of this model can be useful to address current economic problems. 1. Origins of the social market economy. The social market economy was promoted mainly in West Germany after the Second World War, under the direction of Ludwig Erhard, Minister of Economy in the government of Konrad Adenauer. Erhard, influenced by the principles of ordoliberalism, sought a middle way between socialism and liberal capitalism, adopting a market economy with strong state intervention to guarantee social welfare. This model emerged in response to the social inequalities and economic problems experienced in post-war Europe. Rather than imposing a completely state-run system, as in the countries of the Soviet bloc, or a purely capitalist system, as in the United States, the social market economy attempted to combine the best of both worlds: market competition and social protection. Early successes in Germany. The economic reconstruction of West Germany under this model was surprisingly successful. The German economic miracle of the 1950s is largely attributed to the implementation of social market economy policies. Erhard's reforms, which included price liberalization, deregulation of key sectors, and the promotion of competition, enabled Germany to experience rapid economic growth and an improvement in the standard of living of its citizens. At the same time, the state implemented policies of wealth redistribution, offering social security programs, pensions, housing subsidies, and the creation of a public health system. This combination of free market and social solidarity contributed to the success of the model. 2. Expansion of the model to Europe and other countries. Following its success in Germany, the social market economy model spread to other European countries, especially in the Benelux countries, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg, and in Scandinavia. These countries adopted a similar approach, combining market capitalism with a strong social welfare system. Some of the countries most influential in the adoption of the social market economy include France. Although France implemented a slightly different model, largely inspired by the ideas of the social market economy, its social welfare and employment promotion policies were aligned with the principles of solidarity and social justice. Scandinavian countries. In countries such as Sweden, Denmark, and Norway, the social market economy model merged with more socialist systems, creating what is known as the Scandinavian model. This system places even greater emphasis on social welfare, with extensive coverage of public services, but it is still compatible with a competitive free market. United Kingdom and United States. Although these countries adopted a version closer to free market capitalism, they also integrated some principles of the social market economy, especially in terms of welfare policies and the establishment of social security systems. 3. The social market economy in the global context. As the world has become more globalized, the social market economy has had to adapt to new challenges such as the globalization of markets, international competition, and global economic crises. Although the model has proven to be resilient, some of its principles have been challenged by the need to compete in an increasingly globalized world and by the pressure of neoliberal policies that favor less state intervention. Globalization and international competition. Globalization has made national economies more interconnected, affecting the competitiveness of markets. In this context, countries with social market economies have had to adjust to international competition without losing the principles of social justice. This has led to a more flexible approach to welfare policies and a greater integration of local economies into global markets. However, globalization has also exacerbated social inequalities in some countries. Labor movements and social protection policies have come under pressure, and international competition has led to a re-evaluation of subsidy policies and labor market control. Economic crises and adjustments to the model. Economic crises, such as the global financial crisis of 2008, tested the robustness of the social market economy. Although many countries that adopt this model have a strong social safety net and an active fiscal policy, the financial crisis exposed the vulnerabilities of global markets and the interdependence of economies. In response to these crises, Some countries with social market economies have had to make adjustments, such as reducing social benefits in times of austerity or partially privatizing public services to ensure fiscal sustainability. However, in many cases, the fundamental principles of the social market economy, such as social welfare and the protection of labor rights, have remained key elements of economic policy. 4. Contemporary challenges for the social market economy. In the current context, the social market economy faces several challenges. Increasing economic inequality. Despite redistribution policies, income and wealth inequalities continue to increase in many countries, exacerbated by globalization and technological change. Technology and automation are transforming labor markets, requiring adaptation of social policies. Economic and environmental sustainability. The need for sustainable economic growth has highlighted the importance of integrating environmental sustainability into the social market economy. The challenges of climate change require economic policies that promote the transition to a green economy while ensuring social welfare. Approaches to employment. Globalization and technology have transformed the world of work, and traditional employment models are being challenged by precarious jobs and automation. Adapting labor and welfare policies to this new reality is one of the most important challenges of the social market economy. 5. The future of the social market economy. The future of the social market economy will depend on its ability to adapt to new global challenges while maintaining its focus on social justice and the common good. The social market economy is likely to evolve into a model that combines sustainable technology, social inclusion, and international cooperation to address the economic and social problems of the 21st century. In this context, it will be essential to maintain a balance between market competitiveness and a commitment to social solidarity, ensuring that the benefits of economic growth are distributed fairly and that the rights of all citizens are protected. This chapter has explored how the social market economy has evolved over time, its application in different countries, and the contemporary challenges it faces. In the next chapter, we will address how the social market economy can continue to be a transformative force in today's global context, adapting to new social, economic, and environmental realities. Chapter 16. The Social Market Economy versus Currents of Thought. In this chapter, we will analyze how the social market economy faces contemporary economic currents of thought and how it has adapted to the various economic theories that influence public policy today. Over time, various ideologies have proposed different models of economic organization, and the social market economy has had to confront and, in many cases, adapt to these currents, without losing its fundamental principles of balance between efficiency and social justice. 1. Market economy versus socialism and Marxism. One of the main schools of thought that has influenced the evolution of the social market economy is socialism, and in particular, Marxism. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, Marxist ideas had a profound impact on economic theories and public policy, especially with regard to the collective ownership of the means of production and the redistribution of wealth. Marxism and the critique of capitalism. Marxism holds that capitalism is inherently exploitive, as it depends on surplus value, the value generated by workers that is not reflected in their wages. According to this school of thought, capitalism creates inequality and alienation, and the only way to achieve a just society is through the abolition of private property and the creation of a planned economy, in which resources are collectively controlled. The social market economy, although influenced by the ideals of social justice, moves away from the Marxist approach by maintaining private ownership of the means of production and the free market as fundamental principles. Instead of promoting the abolition of capitalism, the social market economy seeks to mitigate market failures through state intervention, promoting social solidarity and guaranteeing a social welfare system that minimizes inequalities without eliminating the market. The conflict between Marxism and the social market economy. The Marxist approach has been a constant critique of capitalist models, and the social market economy has not escaped this debate. However, advocates of the social market economy argue that it is possible to achieve a fairer society without resorting to the expropriation of resources or centralized planning. Instead of denying capitalism, They propose a market model with strong social safety nets to protect the most vulnerable, ensuring a balance between competition and social justice. 2. Neoliberalism and the opposition to state intervention. Another important school of thought that has influenced the global economy in recent decades is neoliberalism, which originated in the works of economists such as Friedrich Hayek and Milton Friedman. Neoliberalism promotes a reduction of the role of the state in the economy, the privatization of public services, and the deregulation of markets. This school of thought argues that free markets, without state interference, are the best way to promote economic growth and efficiency. Neoliberalism and its principles. Neoliberalism maintains that the government should intervene as little as possible in the economy, reducing taxes, eliminating regulations, and promoting global competition. Markets should be self-regulating and prices should be determined exclusively by supply and demand, without the state intervening to regulate or control the market. The social market economy's response to neoliberalism. The social market economy has come face to face with neoliberalism. While neoliberalism advocates for a market free of regulations, the social market economy holds that markets need a legal framework and state regulation to correct inequalities and ensure that the benefits of economic growth are distributed fairly. Unlike neoliberal models, which advocate for massive privatization, the social market economy maintains the importance of universal public services and the role of the state in social protection. Furthermore, advocates of the social market economy argue that the neoliberal model has failed to resolve social inequalities or prevent financial crises, making the role of the state crucial to promoting the common good and avoiding the concentration of economic power in the hands of a few private actors. 3. Welfare economics and the welfare state. The welfare economy is another current that is closely related to the social market economy. This current focuses on social welfare and argues that the main objective of the economy should be to improve the quality of life of individuals, not just to maximize economic growth. In this sense, the welfare economy advocates a redistribution of wealth, a universal public health system, and an educational system accessible to all. Welfare economics and social market economics. Social market economics shares many of the principles of welfare economics as it seeks to achieve a balance between economic growth and social justice. Both theories support the idea that the state should intervene to ensure that the benefits of the economy are accessible to all, and that public policies should focus on the redistribution of wealth and social protection. However, the social market economy places a stronger emphasis on market competition as the driving force behind economic efficiency, while the welfare economy focuses mainly on social welfare and equality. In practice, the two models can coexist, with the social market economy using welfare state policies to ensure that economic growth is inclusive and does not generate extreme inequalities. 4. Green economy and sustainability. In the current context, climate change and sustainability have been incorporated into the debate on economic models. The green economy proposes that economic growth should be compatible with environmental protection and long-term sustainability. This model promotes policies that integrate the circular economy, the responsible use of resources, and the reduction of carbon emissions. Adapting the social market economy to the green economy. The social market economy has begun to incorporate the principles of the green economy by recognizing that sustainability cannot be ignored in a model that seeks the common good. Sustainable development policies, the promotion of renewable energy, and the reduction of the carbon footprint are aligned with the principles of social justice and social welfare of the social market economy. The social market economy model recognizes that economic growth must be responsible and that state intervention is necessary to ensure that natural resources are managed efficiently and sustainably, avoiding resource depletion and promoting a prosperous future for all. 5. Conclusion. The social market economy has been an effective response to various economic models that have prevailed throughout history. Although it has faced theories and approaches such as Marxism, neoliberalism, welfare economics, and green economics, its flexibility and adaptability have allowed it to maintain its relevance in the modern world. The social market economy model continues to be a viable alternative for balancing the benefits of free markets with a need for social justice, common welfare, and economic sustainability. As the world faces new challenges, such as globalization, climate change, and social inequalities, the social market economy offers a framework for addressing these problems in an equitable and responsible manner. In the next chapter, we will explore economic policy and objectives in the social market economy, detailing how governments can implement effective policies to guarantee sustainable and fair development in the current context. Chapter 17. Economic Policy and Objectives in the Social Market Economy. In this chapter, we will analyze how economic policy is implemented within the framework of the social market economy and what are the fundamental objectives that governments must pursue to guarantee the success of this economic model. Through fiscal, monetary, and labor policies, the state plays a central role in promoting sustainable economic growth, social justice, and macroeconomic stability. We will see how market freedom is combined with state intervention to create an economy that is not only efficient, but also inclusive and equitable. 1. Objectives of economic policy in the social market economy. The fundamental objectives of economic policy in a social market economy include sustainable economic growth. One of the main objectives of economic policy is to promote sustainable economic growth. Economic growth is essential to increase overall prosperity, generate employment, and improve the quality of life of citizens. However, in the social market economy, growth should not be at the expense of the environment or social justice. Therefore, economic policies should promote inclusive growth, where the benefits of growth are distributed equitably among all segments of the population. Investment in innovation and technology. To achieve sustainable growth, it is crucial to invest in research and development. Technological innovation and digitization are important drivers of modern growth, which can improve productivity, reduce costs, and open up new opportunities for companies and workers. Green and sustainable economy. Environmental sustainability is a central objective of modern economic policy. Promoting the use of renewable energies, reducing carbon emissions, and energy efficiency are key to economic growth that does not deplete natural resources or contribute to climate change. Social justice and redistribution of wealth. Social justice is a fundamental pillar of the social market economy. Economic policies must ensure that the benefits of growth are accessible to all, especially the most disadvantaged. This is achieved through policies of wealth redistribution, including social security systems, universal education, and public health. Equal opportunities. Equal access to education and basic services is essential to ensure that all citizens have the same opportunities to prosper in society. This includes not only access to formal education, but also to vocational training and job training programs so that people can adapt to the changing demands of the market. Social welfare system. The state must guarantee that all citizens have access to a social safety net in times of need. This includes retirement pensions, unemployment benefits, disability allowances, and other types of social assistance. These programs are essential to protect the most vulnerable from market fluctuations and provide economic stability in times of crisis. Macroeconomic stability. Another key objective of economic policy is macroeconomic stability, which involves keeping inflation, unemployment, and public debt under control. Economic stability is crucial for creating an environment of confidence that encourages investment and consumption and reduces economic uncertainties. Inflation control. Inflation, if not properly controlled, can erode consumers' purchasing power and destabilize the economy. Monetary policies should focus on maintaining a low and stable inflation rate, which is fundamental for overall economic well-being. Full employment. Economic policy should aim to create conditions for full employment, where everyone who wants to work can find a job. This includes the creation of sustainable, quality jobs, as well as the promotion of labor flexibility and worker adaptability in the face of technological and economic change. 2. Economic policy tools in the social market economy. To achieve these objectives, the governments of social market economies use various economic policy tools. These tools include monetary, fiscal, labor, and trade policies, among others. Monetary policy. Monetary policy refers to the control of the amount of money in circulation and interest rates, which is managed by central banks. This policy has a direct impact on the level of inflation, exchange rates, and credit conditions in the economy. Inflation control. Through monetary policy, the central bank can control inflation by adjusting interest rates. If inflation is too high, the central bank can raise interest rates to cool the economy and reduce pressure on prices. Stimulation of the economy. In times of recession or low growth, the central bank can reduce interest rates to make credit cheaper, stimulating investment and consumption. Fiscal policy. Fiscal policy refers to government decisions on public spending and tax revenues. Fiscal policy is essential for financing social programs, infrastructure, and other essential public services. In addition, the government uses the tax system to redistribute wealth and reduce economic inequalities. Progressive taxation. Through a progressive tax system, higher-income individuals pay a higher proportion of their income in taxes. This allows the government to fund social programs without increasing the burden on the poorest. Public spending. The government should prioritize spending on infrastructure, health, and education, areas that are fundamental to social welfare and sustainable economic growth. Labor policy. Labor policy refers to the laws and regulations that affect labor markets, including the minimum wage, working conditions, and workers' rights. Minimum wage. The establishment of a minimum wage is a key tool to ensure that workers receive fair compensation for their work. In addition, labor laws must protect workers' rights, ensuring safe and fair working conditions. Training and education. Labor policy should promote training and continuing education programs to ensure that workers can adapt to changes in the labor market, especially in the face of automation and digitization. Trade policy. Trade policy regulates trade relations between countries and establishes the rules for international trade. In the social market economy, trade policy should ensure that international trade benefits all parties, promoting fair trade and protecting sensitive sectors of the economy. International trade agreements. Trade agreements should be designed to ensure that developing countries have access to larger markets without being exploited by more powerful economies. Protection of national industries. At the same time, trade policy can protect certain key national industries through tariffs, subsidies, or regulations to avoid unfair competition and promote internal economic development. 3. Conclusion. Economic policy in a social market economy aims to achieve a balance between economic growth, social justice, and macroeconomic stability. Through fiscal, monetary, labor, and trade policies, the state plays a crucial role in promoting social welfare and correcting market inequalities. These policies allow the market to be an efficient engine for the creation of wealth, while ensuring that the benefits of economic growth reach all members of society. The success of the social market economy depends on the government's ability to implement policies that promote sustainable and fair economic growth, protect workers' rights, reduce inequalities, and promote social justice. In the next chapter, we will explore economic cycles and how macroeconomic policies can manage fluctuations in the economy to ensure the well-being of all citizens. Chapter 18. Economic Cycles and Macroeconomic Policy. In this chapter, we will explore economic cycles and how macroeconomic policy can influence fluctuations in the economy. Economic cycles, characterized by periods of expansion and recession, are an inherent part of the functioning of any market economy. However, economic fluctuations can have significant effects on the well-being of citizens, employment, and financial stability. Through fiscal and monetary policy and other intervention tools, the state has the capacity to mitigate the negative effects of economic cycles and promote a stable and sustainable economy. 1. What are economic cycles? Economic cycles are the periodic fluctuations in a country's economic activity, including both periods of expansion and recession. These fluctuations affect key variables such as gross domestic product, GDP, employment, the price level, inflation, and investment. Phases of the economic cycle. A business cycle typically goes through several phases. Expansion. During an expansion phase, the economy grows, GDP increases, employment rises, and production reaches its maximum level. Consumers spend more, companies invest, and economic growth appears sustainable. Peak. The peak is the highest point in the economic cycle, where the economy reaches its highest level of activity before it begins to slow down. Although growth may still be strong, inflationary pressures and resource shortages may begin to appear. Recession. A recession is characterized by a decline in economic activity. GDP falls, unemployment rises, and consumers reduce their spending due to economic uncertainty. Companies may reduce their investments, and the level of production decreases. Valley. The valley is the lowest point in the cycle, where the economy hits bottom before starting to recover. In this phase, unemployment is high and companies operate at low levels of production. Duration and frequency of cycles. Economic cycles do not have a fixed duration and vary depending on various internal and external factors. Cycles can be shorter or longer, depending on market conditions, economic policies, and other factors such as financial crises, supply shocks, or political upheavals. Governments and central banks use macroeconomic policy tools to try to smooth the effects of cycles and avoid extreme fluctuations. 2. Macroeconomic policy and its role in economic cycles. Macroeconomic policy plays a crucial role in the management of economic cycles. Through monetary and fiscal policy, governments can influence the level of economic activity, inflation, and employment. State intervention seeks to moderate cyclical fluctuations, smoothing out recessions, and avoiding economic overheating during periods of excessive expansion. Fiscal policy. Fiscal policy involves the use of public spending and taxes to influence the economy. During a recession, the government can increase public spending and reduce taxes to stimulate aggregate demand. This can include infrastructure investment programs, social transfers, and subsidies to the sectors most affected by the crisis. Stimulus in times of recession. When the economy is in recession, the government can increase public spending, for example, on infrastructure, education, health, to create jobs and increase demand in the economy. It can also reduce taxes to leave more money in the hands of consumers and businesses, incentivizing consumption and investment. Austerity in times of expansion. In a phase of economic expansion, the government may opt for austerity policies to reduce the fiscal deficit and prevent the economy from overheating. This may involve reducing public spending or increasing taxes to curb excessive demand and control inflation. Monetary policy. Monetary policy is implemented by the central bank and refers to the regulation of the money supply and interest rates. Monetary policy is crucial for controlling inflation, maintaining price stability, and promoting economic growth. Low interest rates in recessions. During a recession, central banks can lower interest rates to make credit cheaper and more accessible. This stimulates consumption and investment by reducing the cost of borrowing, which helps to revive the economy. Raising rates in times of expansion. In times of excessive economic growth, the central bank can raise interest rates to prevent inflation from getting out of control. This can cool demand, making borrowing more expensive and reducing consumer and business spending. Exchange rate policy. Exchange rate policy can also influence the management of economic cycles. Fluctuations in exchange rates can affect the competitiveness of exports and imports, which in turn influences economic growth and inflation. Currency devaluation in times of recession. A government can devalue the currency to make exports more competitive and thus stimulate growth. However, this can also lead to an increase in inflation if the cost of imports rises. Strengthening the currency in times of expansion. In times of growth, a government may choose to maintain a stronger currency to control inflation and balance the trade balance. 3. The effects of macroeconomic policy on social welfare. Macroeconomic policy not only has an effect on economic growth and stability, but also on social welfare. Fiscal and monetary policy decisions can influence job creation, income distribution, and access to basic services. Job creation. Economic policies, especially in times of recession, seek to reduce unemployment. Through tax incentives and economic stimuli, the government can encourage job creation in key sectors, such as infrastructure and public services. It can also promote job training programs to help workers adapt to new industries. Inflation control and purchasing power protection. Inflation control is essential to maintain the purchasing power of citizens. An effective monetary and fiscal policy can prevent prices from rising uncontrollably, which will protect the real income of workers and guarantee economic stability. Reducing inequalities. Fiscal policy can be used to reduce economic inequalities, ensuring that the benefits of economic growth are distributed fairly. Through progressive taxation and spending on social programs, the government can improve access to essential services such as education, health, and housing for the most vulnerable sectors of society. 4. Challenges for macroeconomic policy in the 21st century. In the current context, macroeconomic policy faces several challenges due to global, technological, and demographic factors. Globalization and economic volatility. Globalized markets can be more volatile, making economic cycles more difficult to predict and manage. Economic policies must adapt to fluctuations in international markets, such as oil prices or trade tensions. Automation and the future of employment. Automation and artificial intelligence are transforming labor markets, posing challenges for labor policy. Macroeconomic policy must ensure that workers are trained to adapt to new technologies and guarantee that quality jobs are maintained in the future. Economic sustainability. Policies must integrate the concept of sustainability, not only from an environmental point of view, but also from an economic and social one. The fight against climate change, the adoption of green technologies, and the creation of a more inclusive economy are challenges that governments must address through coherent macroeconomic policies. 5. Conclusion. Macroeconomic policy is a crucial tool in managing economic cycles and ensuring economic stability. Through fiscal and monetary policy, the state can mitigate fluctuations in the economy and foster sustainable, inclusive, and fair economic growth. However, contemporary challenges such as globalization, automation, and sustainability require economic policies to constantly adapt and evolve. In the next chapter, we will explore how macroeconomic dynamics such as inflation, employment, and income distribution are affected by economic cycles and how governments can effectively manage these aspects in a social market economy. Chapter 19: Money and Monetary Policy in the Social Market Economy. In this chapter, we will explore the role of money and monetary policy within the framework of the social market economy. Money and the money supply are crucial elements for the functioning of any modern economy as they affect consumption, investment, employment, and economic growth. Through monetary policy, governments and central banks seek to maintain price stability, control inflation, and ensure an economic environment conducive to social welfare and economic development. 1. The role of money in the social market economy. Money is the medium of exchange that facilitates economic transactions. In a social market economy, money has several key functions. Medium of exchange. Money allows individuals and businesses to exchange goods and services efficiently, eliminating the need for direct bartering. Unit of account. Money serves as a common measure for valuing goods and services, allowing for price comparison and informed economic decision-making. Store of value. Money allows people to store their purchasing power over time. However, the ability of money to be a good store of value depends on monetary stability and inflation. Facilitator of saving and investment. Through money, individuals and companies can save and make investments. Saving is essential for financing capital and infrastructure, while investment allows for economic growth and job creation. The role of the central bank. The central bank plays a fundamental role in the social market economy, as it is responsible for managing monetary policy and ensuring economic stability. By controlling the money supply and regulating interest rates, the central bank has the ability to influence inflation, production, and employment. Issuing money. The central bank has a monopoly on issuing money, which allows it to control the amount of money in circulation in the economy. Regulation of the money supply. Through monetary policy, the central bank regulates the amount of money in circulation, which directly affects inflation, interest rates, and economic growth. 2. Monetary policy and its objectives. The main objective of monetary policy is to maintain economic stability through the control of inflation, the promotion of employment, and the maintenance of an economic environment conducive to growth. Central banks use a variety of tools to implement monetary policy, the most common being the interest rate, open market operations, and the minimum reserve requirement. Objectives of monetary policy. The main objectives of monetary policy in the social market economy are: control of inflation. Keeping inflation at low and stable levels is one of the main objectives of monetary policy. High inflation reduces the purchasing power of consumers and generates economic uncertainty, which can negatively affect consumption and investment. Promoting employment. The central bank seeks an economic environment in which the level of employment is high and unemployment is low. Expansionary monetary policies, such as reducing interest rates, can stimulate aggregate demand and help reduce unemployment. Financial stability. The central bank also aims to ensure the stability of the financial system, avoiding banking crises and maintaining confidence in the monetary system. Monetary policy instruments. The main instruments used by the central bank in monetary policy are interest rate. The central bank adjusts the interest rate to influence the cost of credit. A low interest rate encourages investment and consumption, while a high rate can curb excess demand and control inflation. Open market operations. The central bank buys or sells government bonds to influence the amount of money available in the financial system. These operations affect interest rates and the money supply. Reserve requirements. The central bank can require commercial banks to maintain a certain amount of reserves at the central bank. An increase in reserve requirements reduces the amount of money available for credit, while a reduction can stimulate credit. 3. Inflation and its impact on the economy. Inflation is the generalized increase in the prices of goods and services in an economy over a prolonged period. In a social market economy, inflation must be kept under control to ensure that money retains its value and the purchasing power of citizens remains stable. High inflation can erode real wages, affect savings, and create uncertainty in the economy. Causes of inflation. Inflation can have various causes, including demand pull inflation. This occurs when the demand for goods and services exceeds the production capacity of the economy, which generates an increase in prices. Cost push inflation. This occurs when production costs, such as input prices and wages, increase, which leads companies to increase the prices of their products to maintain their profit margins. Inflationary expectations. Inflation can also be driven by the expectations of consumers and businesses. If people expect prices to rise, they are more likely to adjust their behavior, which can lead to a real increase in prices. Inflation control through monetary policy. Inflation control is one of the main objectives of monetary policy. Central banks use monetary policy tools to effectively control inflation. For example, increase in interest rates. If inflation is too high, the central bank can raise interest rates to reduce aggregate demand, discouraging consumption and investment. Reducing the money supply. Through open market operations, the central bank can reduce the amount of money in circulation, which helps to control inflation. 4. The impact of interest rates on the social market economy. Interest rates have a direct impact on the cost of credit, the level of investment, consumption, and economic stability. In a social market economy, interest rate policies must balance the need to stimulate economic growth with the need to maintain price stability. Low interest rates in times of recession. In times of recession, the central bank can reduce interest rates to stimulate investment and consumption. Low interest rates make it easier to access credit, which increases consumer and business spending and can help revive the economy. High interest rates to control inflation. When the economy is expanding and inflation begins to rise, the central bank can raise interest rates to control excess demand and curb inflation. A high interest rate makes credit more expensive, which reduces consumption and investment, helping to stabilize the economy. 5. Challenges in the management of monetary policy. Although monetary policy is a powerful tool, it also faces significant challenges. These challenges include globalization. International capital flows and interactions between economies can limit the ability of central banks to control inflation effectively. External shocks. Factors such as global financial crises or sudden increases in commodity prices can affect economic stability and complicate the management of monetary policy. Market expectations. Inflation expectations can be difficult to manage, as future inflation depends on confidence in central bank policies and the decisions of consumers and businesses. 6. Conclusion. Money and monetary policy are essential components of the social market economy, as they help to maintain economic stability, control inflation, and promote sustainable economic growth. Through the proper management of interest rates, the money supply, and other monetary policy tools, the central bank can influence key economic indicators and ensure that the benefits of growth reach all members of society. Controlling inflation, promoting employment, and maintaining financial stability are fundamental to guaranteeing social welfare and economic development. However, monetary policy management faces challenges, especially in a globalized and changing context, which requires flexible and adaptive policies to face the challenges of the 21st century. In the next chapter, we will explore the impact of social policy on the social market economy, analyzing how welfare and redistribution policies contribute to social cohesion and economic development. Chapter 20: Social Policy and its Impact on the Social Market Economy. In this chapter, we will explore how social policies play a fundamental role in the social market economy, promoting social justice, social cohesion, and the general well-being of the population. Social policies, which include welfare, social security, healthcare, education, and housing programs, are essential to ensure that the benefits of economic growth are distributed fairly and that all citizens have access to a decent quality of life, regardless of their income level or social situation. 1. The importance of social policy in the social market economy. In a social market economy, the state is not only responsible for regulating the markets, but also for providing a social safety net that protects individuals from economic fluctuations and guarantees access to basic resources. The aim of social policy is to reduce social and economic inequalities and to ensure that the most vulnerable citizens have the opportunity to participate fully in the economy and in society. Balance between market and state. The social market economy seeks a balance between market freedom and state intervention. Although the market is the main driver of wealth creation, the state has a crucial role in correcting market failures and redistributing resources through social policies. This not only improves the quality of life of individuals, but also contributes to social stability and sustainable economic development. Promotion of social justice. Social policy in the social market economy is based on the idea that all people should have equal opportunities to access the resources and services necessary to lead a dignified life. This includes access to education, healthcare, housing, and labor protection, essential areas that form the basis of social justice. 2. Social policy in practice. Key areas. Social policies are implemented in several key areas that are fundamental to guaranteeing well-being and equity in society. Social security and pensions. Social security is one of the most important areas of social policy. The Social Security system protects citizens in situations of unemployment, illness, maternity, disability, and retirement. The benefits provided by the Social Security system allow individuals to maintain a minimum level of income and access health and support services when they need them most. Pensions. The pension system is essential to ensure that older people who are no longer able to work have a source of income that allows them to live with dignity. Pensions also reduce the dependence of older adults on families and society in general. Unemployment. Unemployment benefits are essential to protect workers when they lose their jobs. These benefits provide a temporary income while they look for work, which helps to maintain the economic stability of families and prevent them from falling into poverty. Access to health and education. Universal access to healthcare and education is an essential component of social policies in the social market economy. Public health. Healthcare services should be accessible to all citizens, regardless of their income level. An efficient public healthcare system ensures that all individuals can receive medical care without facing economic barriers. This includes primary care, emergency services, and disease prevention programs. Education. Education is the basis for achieving social mobility and improving individuals' economic opportunities. In a social market economy, the state must guarantee access to free, quality public education from childhood through to higher education. Education not only improves job prospects, but also promotes social cohesion and democratic participation. Housing and living conditions. Access to housing is a fundamental right in the social market economy. The government must ensure that all citizens can live in decent conditions, regardless of their income level. Public housing policies, rental subsidies, and affordable housing construction programs are essential to ensure that low-income families have access to adequate housing. Affordable housing. Housing policies should ensure that housing prices do not skyrocket beyond people's reach, especially in urban areas with high demand. Improved living conditions. In addition to housing, social policies should also address the improvement of living conditions in areas of urban poverty, ensuring that citizens have access to basic services such as drinking water, electricity, and sanitation. 3. Social policy and the redistribution of wealth. The redistribution of wealth is one of the main objectives of social policy in the social market economy. Through a progressive tax system and effective social policies, the state can reduce economic inequalities and ensure that the benefits of growth are more equitable. Progressive taxes. A progressive tax system means that people with higher incomes pay a higher proportion of their income in tax. These taxes are used to fund social programs that benefit the poorest, such as public health, education, and social benefits. Subsidies and direct transfers. The government can use subsidies and direct transfers to the most vulnerable groups in society to ensure that they can access essential goods and services. These transfers can include housing subsidies, unemployment benefits, and pensions for the elderly. In addition, subsidies for food and other basic goods can help mitigate the impact of inflation on low-income households. 4. The impact of social policy on social cohesion. Social policy in the social market economy has a profound impact on social cohesion. When citizens feel that the state cares about their well-being and that they have access to opportunities and resources, there is a greater sense of solidarity and unity in society. This reduces social tensions and promotes greater stability. Integration of minorities and vulnerable groups. Social policy should guarantee that all people, including ethnic minorities, disabled people, and migrants, have access to the same rights and opportunities. This promotes social inclusion and fosters a diverse and equitable society. Poverty reduction. By guaranteeing that individuals have access to basic services and that resources are redistributed equitably, social policy reduces poverty and inequality, improving the general well-being of the population. 5. Conclusion. Social policies are an essential component of the social market economy, as they seek to ensure that the benefits of economic growth are distributed equitably and that all citizens have access to a dignified life. Through social welfare, health, education, housing, and wealth redistribution programs, the state plays a crucial role in creating a more just and cohesive society. By guaranteeing that all individuals have equal opportunities and access to the resources necessary to improve their quality of life, social policies not only improve economic well-being but also promote stability and social peace. The success of the social market economy depends to a large extent on the effectiveness of these policies and their capacity to adapt to the challenges of the 21st century. With this, we have reached the end of this journey through the social market economy. As we have seen, this model seeks to balance the benefits of a market economy with the principles of social justice, economic stability, and sustainability. By guaranteeing access to basic services, reducing inequalities, and promoting social welfare, a more just and cohesive society is created. It is a model that adapts to the challenges of the 21st century, seeking inclusive and sustainable solutions for the future. This has been a long and exclusive summary made by us, with the aim of offering you an in-depth and comprehensible analysis of the most relevant aspects of this economic model. If you are interested in this content and want to continue learning about economic, political, and social issues, don't forget to subscribe and activate the little bell to be aware of more resources and analysis that will help you better understand the world we live in. Thank you for joining me on this journey of knowledge and reflection. See you in the next Audiomentors audiobook.